Sometimes I'd like to be alone in my own mind. I feel at home within these walls. I fear my own absence of association.
Well, here we are then. 12 rounds of the championship. And we're here for that finale. Round 12 of the championship here. The World GT Championship Season 8. And what a venue we are seeing here. It is Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the corner of 16th Street. And well, welcome along to this broadcast. My name is Paul Smith. Alongside me is Chaz Draycott. Isfan Balo, trackcams22.com if you want to use, see how you can use our cameras, potentially use your cameras we use on here. But yes, what a finale we have for you today. A number of permutations we will be going through, but it's 3 20-minute races here, Chaz. We've had the final sprint, we had the final endurance races, should I say, last week at Le Mans. Now it all comes down to how they go in these 3 20-minute races.
Yep, real pinching point now at the end of the championship. You know, they don't have just one big endurance race to get the job done. They've got to get things clean and simple on 3 different occasions tonight, the sprint races. We've seen it before in multiple series that run multiple races on one night, where you can have a great start to your evening, a reverse grid could throw it the other way, you get caught up in trouble in race 2. These drivers are under pressure tonight, they really are, and there's a lot of them actually that are in with a fight, or in with a chance, let's say, of fighting for the championship come the end of the evening.
Well, we'll go through the championship standings very shortly. Right now, there's the season as we've had there. So we started off at Silverstone. We had Sebring, Road Atlanta as the first tranche of 3 races in this championship. Then it was Monza. We tried to take a race at Daytona. Unfortunately, due to technical issues, we had to abandon that one. But then Nürburgring produced some great racing there. Motegi, thrilling racing there. I will say it was a really good round of the championship. Spa-Francorchamps, we saw the big incident at the top of Radio, and then Imola to wrap that tranche off, and then we're in that final group of 3 rounds of the championship. Barcelona was a bit of a tightly contested round, was that one. Then last week, as I mentioned, Circuit de la Sarthe for the endurance race, and now Indianapolis. And we say about the championship, well, those highlighted in yellow still mathematically have a mathematical chance of winning this championship. However, I will say Morena Sarica here, Chaz, only has to finish 2 races in the points to be champion.
Yeah, when you say it like that, he's not really got the hardest of jobs this evening. Even if he does get involved in an incident, he can try and grab a fast repair, go back out there and just crawl around at the back or further down the field as he, well, compared to where he normally would be. I want to mention as well, Pete Harrod, obviously reigning champion, he has to actually score, I think it's 1 point less than perfect score, with none of those drivers finishing ahead of him to still do it. So he's probably the most outside chance at this point, but still, like you say, mate, mathematically it's still there. So it just shows how close this series really has been, despite what visually looks like a Williams-based dominance.
The fight for second and third place, though, is still on, that's for sure. There's Evdoka, McClay, Arana, McFarlane, and even Pete has got an outside chance of that second place as well. So it is still quite close between that podium positions in your pro standings. Worth just mentioning as well, Josh Thompson unfortunately not able to take part in his first race. He unfortunately registered in the incorrect car, so he's not allowed to race in this first one. So that's going to be a bit of a knock for him and these Williams team. Carl Moore, Cameron Dance and Christian Rose rounding out the top 10 of your Pro Drivers' Championships. Pro-Am, if you think that's close, that is even closer there. 9 drivers still with a mathematical chance of winning the championship here, Chaz. I mean, yeah, we say that the Pro's close. Adam Watson, he's a little bit nervous about this. He really is, because Ethan Bass has shown some really good pace. Daniel Lee's been in and around the top as well. And, well, McCaffrey as well. The last few rounds, McCaffrey's really jumped up those standings.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he had a great showing in back at Spa-Francorchamps as well when we had the endurance round there. He also went well at Imola as well, if I remember rightly. He was quite high up there in the third race, so he's going to be looking to at least get a podium, I think, tonight in that championship. Ethan Basso, like you say, I think you've got to keep your eye on him tonight, because while he hasn't always been at the sharp end, he's played each evening really cleverly and consistently got points. You know, he's done what you need to do in a championship, as a lot of these drivers have. But Ethan, he's really improved, because in previous seasons he was often caught up in incidents, sometimes causing incidents as well. He was a little bit of a loose cannon sometimes, but he's really improved his racecraft and his awareness, and he's come on very strong, especially in that Renvale Fitstyle car. So, I mean, Adam, he'd be a very deserving champion, but I think all of those guys in that top 9 at least would be tonight.
Yes, that's your Pro-Am standings. Matt Woodhouse, the only one of those top 10 outside of a chance of winning the championship. Let's go to your Am Championship. Again, this is a really close battle out here, because Lars van Rijn is at the top of the standings, but not that far ahead of Dean Powell, with John Roberts right there with him. And Michael Blake not that far behind either. Chris Byron, Morgan Butler and Tony Draper. Well, we won't be seeing Tony Draper today, unfortunately not taking part in this final round. So the top 6 still mathematically with the chance, but I would say it's between the top 4 realistically there.
Yeah, definitely. And I was talking to Morgan Butler earlier on. You know, he's still eyeing up that podium. He's still firmly in the belief that he can get enough points tonight and have a good evening and get up there. He's been practicing since it went live at about 5:30 this afternoon, so he's definitely putting in the effort. Lars van Rijn, though, he's just had a steady season. You know, he's not stood out to us that much, admittedly. I mean, he was great at Le Mans. Obviously took the AM class win there as well last time out.
Yeah.
And other than that, though, he's just been there or thereabouts. John Roberts, you know, he's had a very unlucky couple of rounds. He's been drilled by a lot of drivers in silly incidents early on that he just ended up getting involved in. So it'd be good for John to at least take something away from this championship. Michael Blake, now he's in that BMW. He's come on strong as well since changing from the McLaren. Chris Byram, another one in the BMW that's just always been there. So that's very hard to call, that is. I think qualifying is going to be one of the main things in that, but there aren't really many AMs out there tonight. I think a couple of them aren't actually attending this season.
Yeah.
I know Chris Byram's there as well, so's Morgan, obviously, as I've mentioned before. Lars van Rijn, Dean Powell is there. Yeah, so it seems like the only ones in it tonight, in terms of AMs, are the actual ones that can win the championship, which is great.
Well, it's not just drivers' championships for you up for grabs here today. We've also got the teams' championships. Well, in theory, Pure Sims can win that championship. However, all Williams Esports need to do is score one single point, and they are the team's pro champion. But it's more that battle then for second place, because Pure Sims aren't completely sealed in that one. The two Fitstyle Motorsports cars, the TechSense and Renvale cars, pretty close together. And Paceworks Esports Cobalt will be wanting to at least get a top 4 finish out of this.
Yeah, that's it. Each of those teams could end up moving up or down the order if they have either a good night or a careless one. So I'm intrigued to see how that ends up at the end of it. But yeah, like I say, Williams, it's understandable. They've dominated this season, even with the issues for Josh Thompson, a couple of accidents for Alex Arana as well. It's just been a mega season from them, and we expected it. But at the same time, there have been moments where they've really sort of been against the ropes in certain rounds. So it's been good to see some of the guys at least try and have a battle with them, which I've enjoyed a lot.
Well, Pro may be signed, sealed and delivered, but Pro-Am is anybody's, really. I mean, you look at the standings there, less than 100 points covering first to third. msignsuk.com mathematically is still within a shout, although that's going to be a very outside shout because they have only got the 2 drivers there. But yeah, Boosted Motorsport, Boosted SimSport and Team Mad, they've switched positions quite a bit in the last 3 or 4 weeks here, Chaz.
Yeah, they have, and all it takes is one good result for one of the drivers within those teams and one poor result as well. Obviously, the top 2 drivers, even though most of these teams have 3 cars, it's the top 2 drivers from each race that score points for that team. So not the whole evening, just each race. So if you've got one driver that finishes 11th and one that finishes 12th, and then you've got another guy down in 20th place, you'll get points for 11th and 12th. So it really does sort of help those teams where maybe one driver might not be able to make it one evening. So it is a very, very fair fight. And I think that, again, that's just going to be one where we get to the end of the evening and we just sort of cross our fingers and hope for the best that someone's come out on top. But it could still be a tie. I mean, we've seen previous championships end up being 1 point apart. And considering that these drivers, they're getting over 1,000 points in the championship, that shows how competitive this series is.
Certainly does, and it's great to see, that's for sure. Track conditions then, we've talked a lot about the drivers and the championships. These are the conditions that they're facing. So it's a 4-kilometre circuit, 2.5 miles, and it is 33 degrees track temperature out there, so a little bit warm. Air temperature 21 degrees, clear blue skies. So that track temperature is going to do nothing but increase here today in Indianapolis. But Chaz, we'll bring it back to us here, because the pressure is on for all of these drivers right now. One little mistake can cost you a championship win or a top 3 finish in the championship. And one thing that's going to help us tonight is that the admins are going to be updating the point standings during the night, so we're going to try and give you up-to-date scores as we go along. But still, these drivers are going to be looking at the numbers, crunching numbers and thinking, if only I'd have got a couple of places in race 1, I would have got a reverse grid. That's it, reverse grid as well. We've not touched on that tonight. That could have a huge impact here.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it before, haven't we? You know, one AM just gets into the top 20 or even in 22nd place as it goes down to. They'll end up on pole and they can be, 20 positions ahead of the next guy in class. And, I mean, Morgan Butler benefited from that a bit early on in the season. Chris Byram as well in the very first race meeting. First reverse grid. First 2 reverse grids of the season was actually Chris Byram on pole. It was brilliant. But, you know, that can just change it round so much. And I think that the first race is one of the key ones because that'll set people's mindsets for the rest of the night. If you go into the first race, have a mistake, have an accident, and you're clawing back, you're constantly on a comeback mission then for the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
They're the drivers that'll be driving angry, driving under pressure, and I think that if you have an issue in that first race, then that's probably championship done, and it'll take some real effort to bring that back.
I think we're going to see a mix of reserve driving from some and really assertive driving from others here today. I think that's going to be the key features of tonight. We have got, by the way, a 31-car grid for you today, so we're really looking forward to seeing how this all pans out here tonight. But there you see Indianapolis Motor Speedway up in clear blue skies as we see. So, what is going to be in store for these drivers? Who is going to come out on top? We'll have to wait and see. But first of all, we have got a grid to run through for the start of this race. We've got a full pace lap here, so we've got a nice bit of time to go through that grid. And here we are then, Alex Arana and Moreno Sirica, Williams Esports 1-2, like they have been for the majority of the season. Michael Evdoka, really good performance in qualifying, only just about 0.3 of a second off of that second place, so he's right there on board with them in the Ferrari. Adam Watson, your top Pro-Am, your championship leader in Pro-Am, in 4th place on the grid. George McClay then, another Ferrari driver ahead of Ross McFarlane. Daniel Lee and Bradley Burns, great to see Bradley Burns back for tonight. He's in the Ferrari as well, so the Ferrari's really doing well around here today. Steve McCaffrey and Pete Harrod, the outgoing champion, in 10th place. Dean Powell 11th ahead of Mike Horder in 12th place. Lars Van Rijn then, championship leader in your amateur championship, in 13th ahead of Ethan Bass in 14th. Tom Jacobs 15th ahead of Alex Nella in the venerable Ford.
Let's hope it's not vulnerable.
Well, it might be vulnerable to the top speed, but 17th, Mohamed Janko, Vulcan Sim Racing. They've had a bit of a mixed bag of a season in that car as Mohamed. With Cam Dance, he'll be disappointed with 18th, will Cam. Michael Blake 19th ahead of Simon Field in 20th place. Simon Underhill in the Ferrari for Nomad Sim Racing. He's glad to be in that Ferrari in 21st. Paulo Munoz in 22nd ahead of Carl Moore. And Craig Moore down in 23rd. That is quite a surprise actually to me. Chris Byram 24th. That could be the hot weather, the track conditions really affecting that final group in qualifying. Matt Woodhouse and Chris Wood for Team Mad 25th, 26th ahead of Harold Stadler and Morgan Butler. John Roberts, Steve Burke and Ben Gregory, and it does show Josh Thompson there. However, he will not be taking the race start because he did not pick the correct car like a naughty boy.
You started that way with N. I wonder what you were going to say then. I've got people in the chat guessing what colour my background lighting is going to be next time I come back on screen here. This is what these lot are trying to... Well, this is what they've had to resort to while we've got the warm-up lap going on. But still, even without Josh out there in the field, we have the 2 Williams cars at the front. Arana in the beautiful purple metallic Ben Q sponsored Williams Esports machine. And then, of course, the Chill Blast car of Moreno Sirica. And to be honest, Moreno has started his evening in probably one of the best ways possible. You know, he only needs to finish 2 races, that's it. He just needs to score at least some points for finishing, and that's it. But to be honest, Evdoka, he's right behind there as well with Adam Watson, and Adam's done his championship a favour by being right up there too. So Very intriguing to see how that goes. I'm very pleased that they've got the big old Chevy as the pace car as well. Seeing as we're in America, they don't do things by halves over there. So certainly good to see the Chevy making an appearance. Usually it's only on the dirt tracks that we see that. But obviously Simon and well, I think it's Simon Underhill that sets up the session, so he's putting a bit of humour in at least with them. There it is. Nearly fills the entire screen, as it does. Great shot there of the cars filtering through. But still, as we've had in the chat poll, 31 cars, still a great turnout for an end-of-season party, let's say.
It certainly is. You naturally get a drop of attendance, and the Chevy does make an appearance in the IndyCar series, of course, because they're supported by Chevrolet, so that's why you see that car, that pace truck out there. But it's your front two holding line astern. This is all down to the final 3 races of the World GT Championship. That truck takes a late turn to the right. Racespot.tv/timing2 to keep up to date with everything going on in this race. Right now, pace truck takes to pit road. Marina Sirica. Oh, Alex Arana's ahead of him. Now that'll be interesting to see whether it gives Arana a penalty in this one or not, because he was ahead of Marina Sirica going across the line down into turn number 1 then, so it's Arana into the lead. Rest of your field working their way through. It really narrows down into the apex of turn number 1 then. 3 wide, Alex Nella, and I believe that's Ethan Bass
involved he's been hit.
in that. Oh, Ethan Bass has been hit. Oh, Nella's getting all sideways, even more contact. They can't keep away from each other, those two. They're still rubbing and banging doors. We've got a car off Paulo Munoz and Morgan Butler. Oh, the teammates.
Oh, the two, not just stablemates, but those two cars, while they are in slightly different liveries, they are both Sim Sports Racing USA cars. Morgan running the pink, obviously, for charity through October anyway, but now someone needs to tell him it's ticked over to November. Here's Ross McFarlane in the 3M Mercedes behind Adam Watson. But Ethan Bass and Alex Nella, they both had some sort of damage from the initial contact, it seems, and the cars just magnetised towards one another. Evdoka all over the back of Sirica for second place as well. Good to see Michael back on the pace, because he's been struggling for quite a while in comparison to his teammate, or at least his stablemate Ross McFarlane. I was playing Rocket League with a pair of them last night, and they were saying that with all the pressure and everything this season of having Williams up there, you know, they've enjoyed the fight. They really have enjoyed being up there with Pure Sims. But the end of lap 1, down the very famous straight here at the Brickyard, across the line. Oh,
that's one of the M signs. Yes, it is Dean Powell. Well, he's lost control. Don't know how he's lost control. We'll get it up on the replay here. So Dean Powell is on his own here. Now, is he taking avoiding action of something that's happened in front of him? I mean, he's ended up on pit road straight away, so that's handy for him because he could get a fast repair there. But it's just coming round that banking then. And cold tyres. Yeah. The tyres still aren't up to temperature. Bang! Into the wall.
An interesting pit entry strategy, and I mean, it certainly makes for excellent viewing, but I'm afraid that it's not going to do his race or his championship any favours at all. And Arjuna there in the chat, good to see you, mate. He's obviously echoing what I was thinking as well. I usually say I'm either going to look at venues for them or buy them a hat. But to be honest, Nella and Ethan Bass had a very, very quick-fire relationship there. And to be honest, I think it's come to an end very quickly. Here's Cam Dance with Mike Horder in front of him. And the McLaren, he's just trying to ward him off there with the flamethrowers in that McLaren. This is 10th and 11th on circuit. These two different classes, of course. Dance in the Pro. Oh, there's Nella having his own little dance. Oh, big wiggle there. And to be honest, that car is not behaving itself anyway because of the damage that he received earlier. And now he's going to lose a lot of time, because especially coming onto this section here and part of the oval as well, you're going to lose so much time. Although we've seen that Ford be fast in a straight line, actually, haven't we?
Yeah, look at all the cars going to the pit wall trying to break the slipstream. Ben Gregory working his way through in the BMW as well. So drivers getting themselves into positions and try to get through. I can tell you.
Oh, Ethan down the inside of Simon Underhill there. Sorry, mate, just at the bottom of the shot. Ethan making moves back up the order now after that scrappy first lap for him. I said before, he goes well in that Audi. Simon Underhill obviously used to drive the Audi, but he did not get on with it very well at all, so he's changed to the Nomad Sim Racing Ferrari 488 GT3 now. He's much happier in this car. It's a lot more stable for him. And I mean, to be fair, the Ferrari's not the most stable car in the world, but I tell you, it's a hell of a lot more stable than the Audi in high-speed stuff. Although Dean Powell, I'm sure, will argue. But Ethan, although making the move, can't really clear off at the moment by the look of it. And there is a big train of cars, most of them red as well behind. And it was Tom Jacobs that Ben Gregory got ahead of. Good to see Tom back out there again as well.
Yeah.
He's only missed a couple of rounds, to be fair. He was telling me the other night, he was like, you sound like I'd disappeared for like 8 months or something. But yeah, he has only missed 2 rounds this season, but still, he's going hard, is Tom. And to be fair, he qualified 15th as well. I'd be very happy with that. But back at the front, Arana now under pressure a little bit from Sarika.
Yeah, he's feeling that pressure as Pete Harrod has weighed his way past Bradley Burns down the start and finish straight. But there's Michael Evdoka ready to take advantage of any squabbling between the two Williams Esports drivers. And those two taking a little bit of different lines there through the corner. Already, we're at the 5-minute mark coming up here. So time going thick and fast. Oh, Sarika getting up tight behind. That caused Evdoka to check up as well. Matt Woodhouse, I've noticed him going a little bit slow. He was having to back out of it because Tom Jacobs, he almost got into the back of Jacobs there. And we've got Chris Byram. The season started so promising for Chris, didn't it? And he's just not really been able to carry on that momentum throughout the season.
No, he's had a good few results here and there in the AM class. I particularly remember seeing a lot of him on screen at Road Atlanta for some reason. I'm not sure whether it was good or bad though, so I'm not going to try and give him flashbacks. But yeah, it's just sort of fallen a bit by the wayside, I'm afraid. He's still been very good though. He said it was his first league that he's ever raced in on iRacing for him and his teammate as well, who doesn't seem to be here tonight, I'm afraid. But yeah, the P1 racing car's doing a good job. This is Michael Blake in the BMW Z4, just chasing down Simon Underhill, still with Ethan Bass ahead of him. All the way around this long banking here, and this is where the cars do start to move around quite a lot. Over to the left-hand side goes Michael. Simon stays in the slipstream, but look at the speed of that BMW in a straight line.
Look at the Ferrari.
I was going to say, we know that the BM tops out quite early, though. As Blake goes later on the brakes, they're still almost 3 wide. Oh! Simon sort of straight lines it, makes contact with the rear of Michael Blake's car.
Well, Underhill's gone off in sympathy as well. Yeah, we'll have to get a look at that one then on the replay from a different point of view. So here we are then, coming down into turn 1. See from the pit boxes. So you can see how Ethan in front of them is really struggling to keep ahead of them. Then onto the brakes. Oh, Simon was giving space to Ethan, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
He was, and Blake turned down on him. I know I am a member of Team Mad, but I'm afraid, Michael, that one is on you, in my opinion.
I think that, to be fair, that Simon, he went a little bit straight, like you say. He wanted to give that room to Ethan just in case there was a check-up mid-corner. He wanted to make sure that he wasn't directly behind Ethan. He wanted to make sure he was at least at a slight angle to him, just so if he could avoid him, then there was the room on the outside to do so. This is Adam Watson now, who's closed up on Michael Evdoka. Hopefully Michael doesn't employ any of the tactics of blowing everyone up like he does on Rocket League, based on what I did last night with him. We'll have to see what Adam can do on the outside. Nothing doing there. Breaks early. Makes sure that he focuses on his own line. And look at that. Ross McFarlane menacing there, and the Mercedes just behind him as well. We know that Mercedes is a very angry car. And to be fair, McFarlane's done it a lot of justice this season. He's been the only Mercedes other than Ben Hackerson. And he's certainly made it look good. But Adam Watson again here, Paul. We've said this all season. Definitely one of the flagship Pro-Ams in sticking with these pro drivers. He's been great to watch this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly has. Apart from when he caused the only safety car of the season, he's done a very good job out there. But yeah, he won't like me reminding everyone about Spa. But yeah, Spa happened, Adam. As we go down into the chicane into the left into the hairpins. This is a really tight and technical part of the track here. You've got to monster the curb there as Ross nearly into the back of Adam, and he could cut quite a lot of that inside curb, taking it. Oh, there's a spinner. That's an Arana.
Oh, Alex, no. Oh, honestly, you know what, Paul? I'm going to call this. I'm going to make a guess. I think there might have been contact as it checked up here.
Well, he's out on his own. He's clear. Sarika's had a bit of a gap back. Let's have a look. Does he take too much curb on the inside? No, he's fine, and he's going to touch the grass. There you go.
Happens to the best of them, doesn't it, mate? Really does. That's such a shame for Alex Arana leading the race and opening that gap up. And to be fair, I was just about to talk about that section of circuit is so hard because it's going right, left, or, well, the opposite, left, right, left. There's the weight transfer of the car. You know, you're trying to get it turned into one of the corners, and then you've got to chuck the car the other way, but not overdo it. You've got to think about all the different cars that we've got out there. We've got mid-engine cars. We've got front-engine cars as well. They're all very different shapes. Oh, no, boys.
And that was Arana and Horder. I want to have another look at that one to see whether...
Ethan Bass.
Well done, everybody else, to keep out the way of that one.
Mike Horder says, yeah, watch this, boys. You want a curveball? Here's your curveball.
So what happened here? Did Horder come across on Arana? Did Arana come across on him? Or did they both just come together? Let's have a look from above. Oh, it's Arana. It's Arana
comes over. Oh, that's such a shame, man. Because if I had a quid for every time I'd said on a broadcast, not just on Race Spot, but any sim racing broadcast I've done, where I said you do not need to move over on a straight. If you're next to somebody, I imagine he wanted to just get right behind for the slipstream. That's what he would have been doing.
To the inside of Watson. So Watson down to fourth now. I say down to fourth. He was in fourth just a couple of minutes ago, but now it's just one Williams car at the front now. So that's Marina Sarika.
Well.
Yeah, the championship leader, Sarika. And, well, Watson is trying to keep with Ross McFarlane. We're halfway through the race, just to keep you up to date. So your front three are Sarika, Evdoka and McFarlane, all pros. Your top Pro-Am is Adam Watson that you're seeing on screen right now in fourth place. Fifth is George McClay ahead of your second Pro-Am, Daniel Lee. Daniel Lee's done a really good job this second half of the season. Your third Pro-Am is actually Bradley Burns in eighth place. Am category leader? Well, that's Lars Van Rijn. He's just ahead of Ethan Bass here in your field at the moment in 13th place. Your next Am is actually Chris Byram. We've lost Cam Dance. I don't know what's... Oh, no, he's having a few technical problems. So 13th for Lars Van Rijn. Chris Byram is 20th. So that's a significant amount of points that Lars is going to get over his competitors. And then Michael Blake down in 24th place with Morgan Butler 26th and John Roberts 27th. Drivers in the pits, Mike Horder, Paolo Munoz and Dean Powell, who took that rather extreme pit entry at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, we've seen a bit of clump for these opening laps, but to be honest, I think that these drivers now, as it gets into a bit of a rhythm, they're just going to be calm a bit, getting used to who they are, who they're around as well. And that's the thing, isn't it? You know, in the early stages of a race, you've just got to be so careful as to who you're trying to battle with and who you're trying to put moves on, because you've got to check on your mirrors as well as who could always be behind you, because as I say in sim racing, there's always somebody faster, isn't there?
Certainly is, as Van Rijn and Bass has just moved ahead of Van Rijn. He's playing the canny game. He's the championship leader in Am, and he is in 14th place, a really good position to be that as well. So Ben Gregory is the next one behind him, who's got Alex Nella with him. So I think Nella, don't forget, of course, they'll be fighting for team championship points as well. So yeah, these drivers certainly putting on a display. Pete Harrod, oh, we've got a car around, and that's McCaffrey.
Oh heck, how's he managed that one? It's a long way behind as well to have done that. It's a bit of a strange place to be, isn't it?
Is it going to be the same as what happened to Alex Arana here? Just touch the grass and around you go. Well, let's have a look here. So it's through the right. There's the grass, and there you go.
Nice little pirouette by McCaffrey. Gets onto the grass and sort of out of the way. But to be honest, it's easily done. We've just seen it, haven't we? You know, twice, two different cars as well. Engine car, rear engine car. Obviously, they're both rear-wheel drive at the end of the day. Interested to see two different styles of white, black and pink on the Audi R8 there, in the form of Morgan Butler's Pure Sims machine. Oh, that is Simon Field in the boosted Motorsport McLaren. He gets going again, but unfortunately, things not quite going right for there.
I think Carl Moore's gone out as well. I think we've lost Carl Moore in all of this as well, so he is out of it in the BMW. So we'll try and get a look at what's happening. So Simon's just lost that himself. I think Carl has just lost connection out of all of this.
Yeah, he did disappear in front of Morgan, didn't he? As we were watching them there was a car just in front. I'm pretty sure it was his BMW that did just disappear off screen, so that was all it took for him to be out. And like we say, we always attribute it to a mechanical failure or something going wrong with the car, or we do the same with hardware failures as well. Back on board with Adam Watson and trying to chase down Ross McFarlane in the big beefy Mercedes in the 3M racing machine. But Avdoka, he's doing a good job at the moment of sticking with Sarika in certain terms, obviously. But we've been saying as Watson goes very deep into left-hander, trying to get a run on the exit. But the thing is, there's not really much to run to, because that right-hander arrives at you very, very quickly onto the back straight. But we were saying, weren't we, Paul, recently that McFarlane is one of the only drivers that consistently seems to be able to keep the Williams cars on their toes in the first races in outright pace. But at the start of the season, Avdoka was doing the same, and it's good to see him back at that once again.
Yeah, it is. It's great to see him, and he's got that slipstream still, so he'll be enjoying the benefits of that. Oh, Daniel Lee getting a little bit of a wiggle on at the back there, almost a third victim of that bit of turf. And yeah, everybody's just now settled down. They're in their little battle packs, as we sometimes see at these slipstreaming events. So looking back, Chris Byram, Tom Jacobs, Byram's run it wide. Oh, he's done it, and another one behind as well. This is unbelievable.
Steve Burke there just removing Tom's rear wing and turning it into the drag configuration. Oh, honestly, Steve and Tom, me and those two used to be in a team together years ago, and it's as if Steve missed him that much. He just gives him a little tap on the backside. Let's have a look from onboard Jacobs then. In the Renvale Fittstein Motorsport Ferrari, you can see there he's already going wide, just touches the grass. Tom can't really go anywhere, and as he's waiting, Steve loses it, gives him a kiss, but then Steve's still facing the right way in the Teamless Motorsport Audi.
Yeah, we'll have another look at this, but from Steve Burke's point of view. Opens up the steering, and he spins in sympathy. That knock helps him turn him round and get back going again.
He got away with that there, didn't he?
Yes,
wow.
he did.
Oh, I mean, Adam Hedgecock has summed it up perfectly in the chat. He says, I feel bad for them, but that was brilliant. And it was, but yeah, it's that grass, honestly. I mean, we go to a lot of circuits in series like this, such as, Brands Hatch, for example, where there's no chance of running wide and getting away with it. The grass either drags you out or it just spins the car around. Well, that is the slipperiest bit of grass I've ever seen. Josh Thompson in the chat as well, just saying that's it. And actually, Carl Moore has had a random blue screen on his PC. Wasn't even connection based. That's a shame. We hope you can get back out there for the next one, mate. But look at this little battle further up the front now, Paul. This is gorgeous stuff. So Daniel Lee has got a right good show in front of him.
Sarika has pulled away from Avdoka. Avdoka's pulled away from McFarlane. McFarlane appears to be holding up Adam Watson, George McClay, and as you mentioned, Daniel Lee sat in the best seat in the house to watch all the action in front of him, and he'll be hoping that these three start tangling over each other so he can get even more points in the Pro-Am standards.
Yeah, that's it. All he can see in front of him is opportunity, and the best drivers always drive like that, to be fair. And at the moment, it's he's not got much to worry about, with Pete Harrod being a long way back from him by the look of it, over 3 seconds now, as we look back at Adam Watson on the chase for Ross McFarlane's podium position. Gets back on the throttle. Mind the grass, boys. As they get on the final part of the circuit. Long right-hander before they get onto the famous oval. Or square, as I like to call it, or rectangle. It's not quite square, is it? But, I mean, look at this Mercedes now. It's got some punches, this Merc, but the Audi's going to just gradually close up to him. But we've seen, haven't we, that Audi is not really that quick in a straight line compared to some of the other cars.
Yeah, it struggles for top speed, does that Audi. And that shows right there as McFarlane. That Mercedes doesn't have quite the same nippiness. It doesn't have quite the same turning capability of the Audi that's behind him. So that's where Adam now really gains on him. As actually these two have caught up to Michael Evdoka. So Evdoka, bit of a poor lap the last lap, and he is now right in this battle. So we've got a 5-way battle for second place.
It was
time's
26.
running down as well.
Oh heck, it is 40 seconds left. Wow, that's flown by once again. Evdoka did a 26.4 last time round, and McFarlane did a 25.8. This is Steve Burke with Michael Blake just behind him.
He was flashing his headlights, so I think something has happened. We'll get a quick look at this and then go back to your race leader.
What's Steve done? He can be a naughty boy sometimes, can Steve? Bless him.
Gets a great run with the slipstream. He's going to throw it to the inside, is he? No, outside. Is he going to chop it? No, here we go.
Oh.
Well, I don't know what you're flashing your headlights at, Michael, because that was all on you.
15 horsepower more, isn't it? the checkered flag's about to come out. That's actually been the final lap. I thought they were going to get one more.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get one more, but there you go. It is Marina Sirica who takes the win then. My goodness, that 20 minutes flew by there. There you go, Marina Sirica to the top of the standings once again. Great stuff, and crucially for him, Alex Arana having a nightmare out there, and other championship contenders not being in and around that one. Adam Watson was your top Pro-Am driver, and your top Am driver, Lars van Rijn.
Yeah, important stuff for the championship there for Lars. That's the best thing he could have done tonight, and what a great finish overall as well. 14th place. Yeah. Nicely done, just behind Ben Gregory, ahead of Alex Neller. We've got to think now, Paul, Sirica has got one hand on that trophy, and so too, well, interestingly, in all three classes, it was the current championship leaders that finished top in their respective classes in that race. Interesting.
Yeah, it certainly was what they needed out there, and Sirica, he'll be delighted. That's one step closer to his championship that he'll be looking forward to out there. But let's give you then your race results. So Marina Sirica it is, 2.5 seconds at the end of the race ahead of Michael Evdoka. Ross McFarlane, 3rd place ahead of Adam Watson, 4th, who's the top Pro-Am. George McClay, 5th ahead of Daniel Lee, 6th, who's the 2nd place Pro-Am. Pete Harrod and then Bradley Burns, your 3rd Pro-Am in the top 10. Alex Arana, after that spin, down in 9th place. Bit of a recovery drive from him after getting contact with Mike Horder. He might be hearing a few things about that afterwards. Cam Dance rounds out your top 10. Mohamed Janko, bit of a quiet race for him really. 11th place though, good result ahead of Ethan Bass. Ben Gregory then, another one who had a good race in 13th ahead of Lars van Rijn, your top amateur driver finisher, ahead of Alex Neller, Chris Wood, Mark Woodhouse, Simon Underhill, Steve McAfee, another one who got caught out by the grass, and Steve Burke in 20th place. Your next amateur, 21st place. Good grief, that's a ton of points that Lars has gained then over Michael Blake in 21st. Harold Sadler with John Roberts, your 3rd placed amateur. John doing John things, just getting those points, and it works for him each and every week. Morgan Butler, 24th ahead of Simon Field. Chris Byram, 26th ahead of Tom Jacobs. Carl Moore with his blue screen of death ahead of Mike Horder, who had his contact with Alex Arana. Paulo Munoz ended up in 30th place, with Dean Powell having a unique pit entry in 31st, and Josh Thompson did not take the race start. Wow, what an opening race. That flew by, Chaz. I wasn't excited. I thought we were going to get one more lap there, to be honest. But yeah, what a race. Action-packed. Pleasantly surprised as well that we didn't get a big instant at turn 1 as well.
Yeah, well, you said it at the time, didn't you? You know, it really narrows down. You've got this humongous wide oval circuit. still Arana manages to hit a car on it. But they go into turn 1 and it bottlenecks like mad, because not only does it obviously curve round at 90 degrees, I'm still going to continue doing this, curves round at 90 degrees, obviously the straight carries on a little bit more in terms of the width, and then you've got the curb on the inside, so it's it really is a pinch point for that. But the top 3 current championship leaders in those respective classes have to be very pleased with those performances, because all of them have done the exact job they needed to do in that first race, and I said before, it's going to be pivotal now. Lars van Rijn just needs to keep his head down, no matter what the reverse grid goes to here. And I mean, in that one, he finished 14th overall, so he could end up at the very front of this.
He's got a very good shout of getting a reverse grid draw here. So we'll do that right now whilst we're talking about it. So 12th to 24th is the range. 2 place increments for you here. And let's see how it all stops. That wheel is stopping.
Breakspear wants yellow on my things, but I can't do that because it makes my webcam go funny.
And it's going to be... oh, now is it going to be 18th? It's slowing. I think it is going to be 18th.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, well, the man who sets up the race sessions here in the championship, Simon Underhill, is going to be on pole position. That's quite the draw there. He'll, I'm sure that there'll be an alleged fix there, but Simon Underhill is going to be on pole position ahead of Matt Woodhouse and Chris Wood. Now, that's turned out good for Team Mad there, because they're 2nd place and 3rd place on the grid, with Alex Neller 4th and Lars van Rijn. Look at that.
So it's 2 boosted cars behind him.
Yeah, that is is going to be a spicy start to your 2nd race of the evening. We have got 2 more races coming up for you very shortly here on Racesport TV, so make sure you stick around, because right after these commercials we're going to have the 2nd race of the evening.
the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back then for live coverage of the finale of the World GT Championship Season 8 here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, after an interesting first race, we had 18 cars reversed on the grid here, Chaz. But crucially, we have had the championship admins update the points here as well. And, well, Marina Sirica, a 60-point lead over Michael Evdoka in second place.
Very interesting indeed, because you get 60 points for a win. So if he can hold that gap and finish ahead of Evdoka, job's done. And we said tonight, didn't we? All he needs to do is finish 2 races. Now, it's a bit more of an interesting story because he's got to finish ahead of somebody. We know that there's a definite difference now between the two of them with the final round to go. I mean, obviously, he could still wrap it up tonight if he doesn't finish ahead of Evdoka in this race.
Yeah.
But if he wants to get it done this certain race, then he has to do that. But still, this track actually has provided some good racing. I mean, a lap goes by very quickly. They're only doing 124s, and to be honest, I always remember it feeling like a really long lap, even in a Formula 1 car back in the day on games like F1 2000, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, looking further down your order as well, not further down your order, but further down the spreadsheet that the admins have been updating for us, Adam Watson has now got a 79-point lead in the AM Championship. So therefore, Pro-Am Championship. I knew what I meant. Therefore, he can't be caught. So champion Adam Watson, 79 points. He can't catch that up after this race. Long as he scores, as long as he scores in this race. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself there. But it is only Ethan Bass and Daniel Lee now who can mathematically compete with him here in this one. Yeah. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. But Adam Watson, he just needs to finish and score points. Yeah. That's all he needs to do. That's pretty much wrapped up. It's the AM Championship I want to bring up because we've only got about a minute left before the second race. Lars van Rijn has got a bit more, has certainly helped him out with the championship. However, 16 points is the gap between him and John Roberts at the moment.
That could swap round and double the other way in one race. All it takes is one good result for John, and that can go the other way now. But obviously, John up to second place. He was third at the start of the night, so still good improvement from him early on. And as you said, mate, he was just doing John Roberts things, wasn't he? Just getting points, staying out of trouble this time. And he's got 2 races left to do it as well. I mean, it's not like we're down to the very final race yet either, so bring it on. I'm really excited for this. And to tell you what, I bet the stewards and all of the marshals have been polishing that grass even more, getting that little exit bit of grass nice and shiny. But yeah, this is going to be another corker, this. I can't wait.
It will. I do have to say as well, though, by the way, congratulations, Williams Esports. They did seal the Pro Teams Championship. That one I have got right. They sealed the Pro Teams Championship with that result there, so they were able to secure that one. So at least we've got one thing right in the commentary box after race 1, because all they had to do was score 1 point. Well, we got more than that because they won the race.
Yeah, indeed. We certainly do know that 60 is more than 1 on this occasion, which is great. And as Bradley Hulse has pointed out, there's no wrong with Yorkshire maths, mate. Let's get on to race 2, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got race 2 to contend with, and we have got a grid to show you up on screen right about now. When the graphic works. There we go. Simon Underhill then. Top of the grid. Front row, sharing that front row with Matt Woodhouse, Chris Wood and Alex Nello. bit of a handful for Alex Neller in that last race in 4th place. Lars van Rijn, your top am, that's really crucial for him in this amateur championship. 5th place with Ben Gregory 6th. Ethan Bass and Mohamed Janko 7th and 8th place. Cam Dance 9th ahead of Alex Arana, who to be fair, he did actually in the championship Discord did apologise for the contact between him and Mike Horder, so he has held his hands up. He's admitted fault with that one. Bradley Burns and Pete Harrod 11th and 12th place ahead of Daniel Lee and George McClay. Adam Watson and Ross McFarlane 15th and 16th ahead of Michael Evdoka and Moreno Sarica, race winner from race number 1. Steve McCaffrey then just missing out 19th ahead of Steve Burke. Michael Blake and Harold Stadler 21st and 22nd ahead of John Roberts and Morgan Butler. Simon Field and Chris Byram ahead of Tom Jacobs, Mike Horder. And then Paolo Munoz and Dean Powell. And good news! He has selected the right car.
Hey.
Josh Thompson is in 31st. So it'll be intriguing to see how he gets on with that drive for him. The drivers are out on their pace lap right now, and Carl Moore has decided and elected not to take your race start here, and it's probably a sensible decision given that he had computer issues for him out there.
Yeah, and it's a respectful one as well. I mean, I really do respect that, because a lot of drivers are just think, oh, stuff it, turn it off and on again. As Morgan Butler is still in the pit lane, he's had a few connection issues recently as well. I
think he's had a connection issue here as
well. Oh no, Morgan! He was so up for tonight as well. So much practice went in before this, and unfortunately, it's gone to pot for him. Great shot there where you can see the two Team Mad cars almost stacked above each other and the boosted cars. I'm sure the boosted ones will end up that way anyway in a minute. But this is going to be interesting for Simon Underhill. Maybe he can finally make the most of that Ferrari here, Paul, because we know that he had a nightmare, absolute nightmare in the Audi, and even last season he had it as well.
Yeah.
And I really, really do hope for Simon's sake as well that he can get a good result out of this race.
Well, you can see all the drivers working their way through the infield. The corner that's caught out 4 cars so far that they've just gone through there. And, well, getting ready then for the start of the second race of the evening then. But here we go then. Coming into the final corner, Simon Underhill taking charge of the start of the race. Interesting to see that in the first race, Alex Arana did not get a penalty, so obviously the timing line. Simon Underhill's going early. He's going very early.
Wow.
And Alex Neller looking to the outside as they go down across the stripe over the bricks. And look at the lead that Simon Underhill's got already. Everybody else fanning out behind. Who's going to manage this one? Neller to the middle of the 2 Team Mad cars. And amazingly, he's gained 1 place. He's looking to gain another. But Chris Wood just staying ahead for the time being here. That's an audacious move, though, to go to the middle. Alex Arana's trying to make some moves here. And Cam Dance is falling down at my timing screen. I see, so he's had issues. Might have got a slow down penalty or some sort of incident for him. As they go through into the hairpins. Bradley Burns having to back out and try and slot back in as well. This is great stuff further down your field.
Yeah, this is really feisty early on. And I mean, never mind Simon Underhill, he was gone over the hill by the time they got around that final corner. He was absolutely off. And he left that field. He's now got 2 purple cars behind him in the form of Alex Neller and Alex Arana. So he's got to watch his mirrors, because Alex is in a prime position now to make the most of that reverse grid. He's then got Mark Woodhouse and Ben Gregory behind him. We saw a fantastic drive from Ben Gregory last time out of Le Mans. Ross McFarlane round the outside of Lars van Rijn. Lars has had a bit of a slow run out of there, maybe an issue through the sort of double or almost triple chicane. He's got Moreno Sarica behind him.
Car's broken away. That's Chris Wood.
Oh, he's off and he's going to catch up. Oh, Steve Burke misses him. Oh, that's Watson.
That's Adam Watson, championship leader in your Pro-Am.
There's still cars in the road because people are still avoiding something. Let's see how this unfolded. Did he just lose it on his own? I wouldn't be surprised. We know that McLaren likes to kill people.
It's cold tyres, remember, as well. Lap 1, cold tyres.
Curb. As soon as he comes off the curb. Oh, and he's on the brakes. Great stuff from McFarlane, Sarika and Ryan. Oh, Watson gets hit. Watson got hit by Blake.
Well.
Watson got turned by Blake. Blake was right behind him, and the tiny bit of slowdown from Watson. Sorry to cut over you, Paul. But
yeah, no, that's fine.
He just gave him that little tap, and out of all cars that he could bounce back on and hit as well. Oh, that's so unlucky.
So Watson's backing off. You can hear him backing off. Blake has kept his foot in to the outside. Now, to be fair to Blake, there was no car in the way.
Yeah,
when Watson came across to his left. But you also have to say there's got to be an element of self-preservation go on and maybe back out of things a little bit. Look at this, Simon Underhill under pressure at the front of the field, and in fact just gifting the place to Alex Arana.
Maybe just thinking at this point, championship points, I'm not going to fight this too hard. I know Arana's going to get past beforehand. 45 minutes required repairs for Adam Watson. You can't write this, Paul. I mean, we were just saying before that he's pretty much got this wrapped up in the Pro-Am Championship with that gap. But no, the one driver, other than obviously his teammate Steve McCaffrey, that's going to really lose out here is your Pro-Am Championship leader. Now,
and
we
look
know...
who's there. Look who's there. 6th place. Ethan needs the defensive drive of his life here, or even attacking drive as well, to try and get ahead of Mark Woodhouse, Ben Gregory and Alex Neller and Simon Underhill.
Yeah, indeed. And the thing is as well, obviously he gets 60 points for a win, so he's not going to retake the championship lead in this race, but he's going to take a good old chunk out of it because Adam's going to be starting at the back of the grid for this final race. So if Ethan can just start in the middle, even if he gets a reverse grid that puts him down, say, 10th or 12th, you know, Ethan could still take that championship in the final race if he finishes near where he is. He either, like you say, Paul, he needs the defensive drive of his race, he needs the attacking drive of his race right now, but importantly, he needs to just make sure he finishes in and around where he is now, because if he doesn't finish, then it's all going to be back to square one for the final race of the night. This is why we love championship finales.
Well, and talk about the drama. Well, it's not a llama, but it's certainly drama as they're heading down towards turn 1. Pete Harrod to the inside in the McLaren on the brakes. Harrod is good on the brakes in that McLaren through up into 6th place then. Keep up to date with everything, by the way. Racebot.tv/timing2. Racebot.tv/timing2 if you want to keep up to date with everything going on in this race. I could tell you Adam Watson is sat there in pits. Steve McCaffrey as well, his teammate who collected him, is in the pits as well. Everybody else is running out there at the moment. Chris Wood down in 28th as Pete getting it a bit wide there, and here comes Marina Sarika now putting the pressure on.
He had a real wobble there, did Pete. The car just snapped away from him. Managed to save it. As we all know, Pete's very good at drifting, so he can catch a slide more times than not. Sarika, nice move going through. Bass doesn't make it too difficult. He's now got his fellow Audi driver Mohamed Janko behind him, and then Ross McFarlane. But interestingly enough, though, now Sarika is a good few positions ahead of Michael Evdoka and in place to take the championship. But still, Paul, 3/4 of the race to go.
Certainly is, and Janko, look at him right under the rear wing. He's looking to the outside. That's not really the greatest idea, but if you can now slot in, get that slipstream from Ethan. Ethan's deciding to go defensive here. Now, if Mohammed keeps it out wide, he can get a little bit of a slipstream from those BMWs, that BMW in front, down into first chicane. But we've seen how good Ethan Bass is on the brakes throughout this championship. Ross McFarlane is trying to make some moves as well. He wants to get a podium position in the championship, in the Pro Championship as well, for himself and for 3M.
Yeah, that's it. All of these, well, I say all of them. Mohamed Janko obviously not in a championship fight, but he could be the loose cannon for either of these drivers here as Ethan's gone a little bit deep. He needs to be careful not to make any contact. Janko loses a bit of pace. McFarlane gives him a bit of a tap. We've got Sarika attacking Harrod ahead of that as well. And look at this. Is that George McClay coming down the inside of Ross McFarlane? They're side by side with Evdoka in there as well. Harrod there side by side with Woodhouse. Ethan Bass side by side with Janko. McClay down the inside of Evdoka. McFarlane all the way over the back of Janko. This is great racing from Indianapolis. I really did not know what to expect from this circuit. We don't often see it in these sorts of cars, but this has been a treat so far, hasn't it, Paul?
Certainly has, and we've already got 13 minutes remaining of this one. So McClay just having to slot in 11th place. Go on.
Thompson's 13th already.
Yes.
Thompson's on the back of this train there in the black and blue. Williams Esports BMW with the Fanatec branding down the side of it. There he is. Great stuff from Josh so far. And wow, just shows you how quickly these guys can pull off these amazing drives. We've got battles ahead. Ethan Bass, Janko and McFarlane side by side, all three of them. I think Bass has got out of it thinking championship. He's dropping down though, Paul, and that's the thing. He can play it as safe as he wants, but each position lost is an extra point that he doesn't catch up as. Oh, there is Cam Dance. I think someone's given him a taste of his own medicine from earlier in the season. Wow, a little bit of an excursion. Roberts was behind him on track there even after the incident.
It was Bradley Burns to the inside, and Bradley Burns and Dance got together there.
A bit of an odd one, that, because that's just before they go into the left, isn't it? So I was thinking maybe Cam just squeezed him through the right, but it seemed like it was in the transition to the left. Maybe Bradley just making contact with that right rear wheel, locked it up on the back of Cam Dance's car, and that was it. Alex Neller then holding on to second place. Now he's ahead of Simon Underhill.
Yeah, I was going to say he's just moved ahead of Underhill. Underhill tried his best to make a breakaway at the start, but it didn't quite work out for him, did it really, that start? No. But he did go early, and it worked. Now, I will point out, Mark Woodhouse is at the head of a train of cars. He's got Ross McFarlane, Mohammed Janko, George McClay, Michael Evdoka, Josh Thompson now up to 12th, Ethan Bass 13th. Steve Burke is kind of on the back of that train, as well as Bradley Burns, as ahead of these two. Sarika and Harrod are battling it out. And I didn't expect to see that. Ben Gregory giving Pete Harrod a slipstream, but it doesn't matter because Sarika to the outside of turn one.
Yeah, to be fair, Ben Gregory and Pete Harrod racing together a long time on iRacing. They may be very competitive when it comes to racing one another, but I suppose Ben maybe just giving him a bit of a favour there. But Sarika, he's just doing what he needs to do at the moment and doing a good job of it as well, up into 5th position. Gregory, you know what Gregory's going to do here. He's going to defend for his life because that's what Ben does. He's off the back of a fantastic performance at Le Mans last week. He's now just got to keep his eyes. The thing is, you don't want to drive in your mirrors too much, but that's one hell of a train of cars to have behind you. Thompson's past Evdoka in the background. He's not now going to try and get past George McClay. But there's just so many different positions going on here, so many battles for these positions going on that we wouldn't normally see, and that's why we love reverse grids. But when there's championship implications in here as well, and like you say, reserve driving from some but not from others, it's definitely one of the most epic rounds we've seen this season, and we're only halfway through race 2 in about 5 seconds time.
Yeah, absolutely. McClay and Janko. McClay's trying to get past Janko here. He wants to try and get as many points as he can. Side by side in front of them, that's Ross McFarlane and Matt Woodhouse heading down the pit straight together. And McFarlane in that Mercedes. I think Woodhouse is backing out of it, is he, a little bit? Well, McFarlane's got the inside, he's got the higher ground, and he takes the position. So up to 7th for Ross McFarlane. Matt Woodhouse down to 8th place in the Team Mad car. Mohammed Janko then behind in the Vulcan sim racing car, 9th. Staying ahead now Josh Thompson, because he's got ahead of George McClay.
Yeah, Josh is just picking him off one by one here, and it's like one position a lap at this point. He doesn't care who it is, he's just managing to find this pace and get through. And this is the thing we've been saying all season about Josh Thompson. If it wasn't for the technical issues, if it wasn't for the disconnects, Josh could be right up there in this situation right now, fighting for the championship. But unfortunately, it's just not been his season. His pace has been impeccable. Oh, as Jacobs, well, as most red Ferraris have been this season, he's having a bit of a struggle tonight, isn't he?
He's got a bit of damage on the left-hand side of his car, so that's a boosted car that's with him there.
Order, isn't it?
Here we go then, to the inside, to the 42, no, and Robert, oh dear.
6 of one, half a dozen of that.
That's Tom. And a little kiss on the way back, just to say thank you. That's the thing. Jacobs had run wide, but it's always going to close up. Is that gap there? Oh my goodness, we've got 3 wide into turn 1. What a way to turn into that one. Josh Thompson to the inside. He's going to get both of them to the inside of turn number 1. Matt Woodhouse doesn't know where to look here. Janko's still behind him here. And behind them as well, Evdoka has made his way past George McClay. So McClay's falling back in all of this here. It's not going well for George in his championship fight for a top 3 finish in the pro standings.
Yeah, George has been quick all season, but just seems to be falling by the wayside a little bit here. And I think Jacobs was wondering about Mike Horder's way of going about things. He got smashed in the rear and then got a kiss. But Steve Burke's made his way up the order as well. I mean, he qualified quite far down, didn't he? And we've not seen much impressive performance in terms of qualifying from Steve recently. But he's making up for it with some really good runs through the field. I mean, it goes a bit unnoticed sometimes, I won't lie. And similar at Le Mans, I mean, we both got sent a video, didn't we, where he had a massive drift around the Porsche curve, somehow saved it. But he is just behind Bradley Burns at the moment, is Steve Burke. But up to 15th place, you know, it's a lot of points for him. He's not in a championship fight as such, but he'll still be enjoying having just some competitive racing out there. That's what Steve loves. You know, he's a real racing driver, races in Britcar and has done in the past, previous champion of Class 2 in Britcar. So just being able to race in a sim, and obviously with real racing being postponed again, in the UK at least, as Sarika down the inside of Underhill. Harrod trying to get past Gregory. Gregory defending Steve Burke, and Bradley Burns making contact in a straight line. Again, boys, you don't need to do it. Just stop moving over on each other on a flipping straight. Oh, I lose my mind over it. As here is your AM leader, your AM championship leader anyway.
Yeah, and he's falling back in the order. He's down to 19th now. He's behind, out of the AM drivers, he's got Michael Blake, he's got Chris Byram, he's got Dean Powell. They're not really ones that he's fighting with. He's ahead of John Roberts, crucially. And I don't think Roberts will really challenge him that much. He'll just do his usual thing and just get in the points. Get himself a clean 0x race as well, because you get bonus points for finishing instant free in this one. So yes, definitely Van Rijn is just playing the percentages here, but he's got to be careful with that though as well.
Yeah, that's it. And it's similar to what I said before about Ethan Bass, isn't it? You can play it safe all you want, but you can't play it too safe, because you'll just lose position after position, and positions are points at the end of the day. Now, Simon Underhill's got Ben Gregory tucked up right behind him. He's also got Harrod behind him. Then it's Ross McFarlane, and then it's Josh Thompson. So this is a real all-star train as you get further back as well. Underhill and Gregory very close together. Gregory making sure that Underhill's not really got anywhere to go. He gives him room, though, as they get there. Runs a bit wide. Gregory's still down the inside. Underhill around. I think there, though, to be honest.
Oh, and having to get out the way as well, because you got cars side by side coming around there. That's Woodhouse and Janko still battling it out between the two of them as well. I think that was rather unfortunate there for Simon. He did go a little bit deep into turn 1, didn't he? Simon, and Ben tried his best to keep it out the way. And these three, because there's a little bit of rubbing there from McClay. That's not the way to give another car a turtle cut, turtle wax. That's for sure. Josh Thompson up to 6th place now from 31st.
I'll tell you what, maybe not a turtle wax, but I'm sure it might give someone a turtle head. Flipping heck. Pete Harrod, though, he's just going to be seeing Josh Thompson drive past and thinking, what? How? Like, because we know Pete is rapid. I mean, he wears that number 1 on that car for a reason. He's the reigning champion. Pete won the World GT Championship last season against some incredible opponents. But if I'm honest, Josh is just showing him how easily this can be done at the moment. He's just flying through the pack and picking them off one by one. And again, it just comes back to, if only we could have seen this all season from him without the technical issues. As McFarlane goes down the inside of Gregory, Ben's defensive drive has been good so far, but unfortunately it's not enough to hold off McFarlane. Let's see how long it takes Thompson to get through. That's 1 and 2 corners. Round the outside he goes. He's going to carry it all the way around. No, you're not, Josh. That's naughty stuff.
Well, he's
all
got
the way around the
enough.
outside.
He's out the outside of here as well.
That's
that gives you the inside
now.
for the next corner. And well done, Josh Thompson. And here comes Pete Harrod to follow. Gregory's not going to give that one up. Little kiss to the back of Josh Thompson. But Thompson, incredibly, around the outside of three corners there, and able to do it. Oh, Simon Underhill's off again.
No. Oh, it's just gone from bad to worse for Simon. And again, it's actually not turn 1 or 2, is it? That's halfway around the lap. Maybe a bit of contact to help him there. Maybe. I mean, we've seen drivers go into there, just sort of lose it by letting off the brakes a little bit. I'm not sure who's trying to sabotage our timing screen, by the way, but suddenly we've got a field of Skip Barbers in my face. Oh, Simon's done it on his own. All on his own. And, he gets a bit of help from Dean Powell, but, yeah, that's... it started being his own incident. I don't really think there was much the other guys could have done there. Straight back on it with the rejoin as well, but, yeah, I'm afraid that Simon's race, while it started so promisingly, and I said, didn't I, it'd be good to see him get a good result. Just not come away from. Sarika's now up to second place, so once again we have a Williams 1-2.
So we've got 2 minutes remaining here in the race. We're trying to sort out the timing issue, but we'll hopefully get that done. Yeah, so it's Alex Arana and Moreno Sarika first and second place. Cam Dance has had an issue. Paolo Munoz, I believe, was involved in that one as well. John Roberts just gaining some positions there.
Yeah, he's just picking off these freebies, isn't he? He'll be happy to have it, obviously. I mean, it's extra points, but it's a shame in which they're coming to him. So into turn 1 goes Cam Dance then. No. Paolo Munoz, wasn't it? Just give him a little bit of a helping hand. But yeah, John Roberts says another one. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Through he goes. And now Munoz, to be fair, he's given him the place back, which is really nice. And even though he's lost another place to Roberts, that's another freebie for Roberts, I suppose. Although actually, no, Cam got past him, so he's back to square one. But
right, we're about to start the final lap here, everybody. So hang on, because this could anything could happen on this lap here. That's for sure. But yeah, so down into turn number 1 again. Evdoka and Gregory pretty close together. Michael not really able to get close enough though to make a move. Although saying that, look at the run he gets, and Gregory's just letting him by there. That's different categories, different class drivers, so I can understand why. Alex Neller!
Oh no, Alex. Oh no, he's going to lose it again. There's contact with Gregory. Helps him stay straight there at that point, but oh mate, that Ford, he's had a bit of a scrappy evening so far. He's holding on so well near the front of the order. He's still actually carried the speed around the outside though. That's a great run, considering that he was on the outside and that's an amazing run out of there by the GT, isn't it?
Certainly is, but we'll look to the front. We won't miss this one. Across the line, they'll come then. The clock is going to strike 0 very shortly. Oh, this is going to be tight, actually. As there we go, the timer elapses and across the line. And it is going to be Alex Arana who takes victory for Williams Esports. Oh, that's just sickening, the amount of car control he's got there. But second place, crucially for him, it is Moreno Sarika, your pro champion. Pending any protests, of course. Don't forget there are stewards' decisions to be made afterwards. But Moreno Sarika, your pro drivers champion, and to be honest, Chaz, we alluded to it earlier, he's deserved this.
Oh, he has. He's been so consistent all season. He's barely been caught up in any incidents. He's just always been one of those drivers up there, and he has one race to go in the season, but he has already confirmed himself as the Season 8 World GT Champion. Fantastic stuff. And, well, we thought that one of the Williams drivers was going to take it, but, I mean, due on the first couple of races, we had no way of finding out. And we had no way of guessing either. Josh Thompson, his teammate, comes along to congratulate him as well. Great to see that. Weaves the car around, and yeah, I agree. That car control by Alex Serrano was absolutely vile, wasn't it? Unbelievable. Nella wins Pro-Am.
Yes, he does.
Nella does a good job there, really good job. Obviously, Ethan Bass was hoping to have a strong result. He finished 12th, so he's not got all the points in the world, but he was 6th when we first looked at him, so he's dropped off a bit. In the AM standings, it's Michael Blake that takes that. That's good for Team Mad. Chris Byram second in that, and Dean Powell third. So Lars Van Rijn, while he was 4th in that, he's now behind some of his main rivals in AM if there's a big reverse grid. So again, this evening could get turned on its head one final time, but still, Sarika is crowned your champion.
There you go then. There's the results. Alex Arana 6.4 seconds ahead of your second place Marina Sarika, your Pro Drivers champion. Ross McFarlane third ahead of Josh Thompson. What a storming performance from him to finish in 4th place. That's unbelievable. That's scary how quick he is in that BMW. Pete Harrod, your outgoing season champion, season 7 champion, is in 5th place ahead of Michael Abdoka 6th. Alex Nella, as pointed out by Chaz, the top of the Pro-Ams, in 7th place ahead of Ben Gregory. Mohamed Janko 3rd place in Pro-Am, 9th overall ahead of George McClay. Matt Woodhouse then 11th with Ethan Bass. Crucial points for him in that battle against Adam Watson for the Pro-Am Championship. 12th place for him. Steve Burke 13th ahead of Bradley Burns. Michael Blake with Chris Byram. Of course, Michael Blake, your top AM driver, ahead of Chris Byram, 2nd place in AM. Daniel Lee 17th ahead of Dean Powell 18th. Lars Van Rijn, your amateur leader, going into this round of the championship in 19th ahead of Simon Field in 20th place. 21st for Mike Horder, a bit of a recovery drive from him after that nightmare of what happened in race 1. Harold Stadler 22nd ahead of Cam Dance. Paulo Munoz ahead of John Roberts in the end. Simon Underhill is classified 26th ahead of Chris Wood, who did amazingly actually finish that race. Drivers who did not finish: Tom Jacobs, he had to retire with 4 laps to go. He should actually score points for that though, because it's half distance for point scoring. Then drivers who did not score any points at all: Steve McCaffrey and Adam Watson, 2 of the Paceworks esports drivers, 1 for Cobalt, 1 for Not. And in 31st place, who did not take the start, was Morgan Butler. So that is race number 2 of 3 for the evening. We've got one more race to come here, Chaz. We've got one more spin of the wheel as well.
Yes.
This championship is going to the wire in your Pro-Am and AM standings. So this is going to be absolutely sensational end to the season here.
This is going to be one of the most quick and frantic maths lessons that you've ever seen, everybody, honestly. Especially if Paul still thinks that 2 times 60 is 79 as well. Because this is going to be all up in the air. But that's why we love it, you know. It's all great seeing somebody wrap up a championship when it's, say, 4 or 5 rounds from the end, which can sometimes happen with the level of talent that you get in sim racing and the spread of talent in the field as well. But to be honest, I think we all want it to go down to the wire, and it makes it more frantic for us. It's going to be more frantic for everybody watching at home as well. It's going to be very enjoyable, and I'm really, really pleasantly surprised by how great the racing's been around this circuit. It's fantastic, isn't it?
It's been sensational, that's for sure. But we've got one more spin of the wheel for the season. I do want to say thank you to Arjuna Kankapati and also Tyler Maxam for their work on the spinning wheel throughout this season. It was done at a very short notice, so thank you to those two for providing us this, and we shall see what we get. The wheel is slowing down. It's not going to be 16. Is it going to be 20? It is, and it's going to be Simon Field on pole position. Boosted, what a position for them, because second place on the grid, Lars Van Rijn.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's both the Simons getting the reverse grid poles this evening, but Yeah, boosted 1 and 2. And then, of course, you've got Dean Powell and Daniel Lee on the second row. So it's an M-Signs UK on there. And they're bowing out of the championship after tonight. So it'll be a great way to see them bow out with a good result. Behind them as well, Chris Byram, another driver that's had a bit of fortune this season with reverse grids. And then, of course, he's got Michael Blake. And it's very interesting there because the top 6 contains 4 of those AM drivers that are trying to fight for the title as well. So we've got that, and then we've got the Pro-Am drivers trying to make their way through it as well. Obviously, Adam Watson, he's going to be starting way down at the back of the field in 30th place. So he's going to be really up against it here. And obviously, the drivers that he's got to fight against as well. I mean, Ethan Bass, he's going to be starting, 8th on the grid, would that be? 8th or 9th? So he's got his work cut out here as Adam, but he's still got the championship lead. I need to check by how much. We'll get that over the break, obviously, so we can let everybody know. But, yeah, this is going to be one hell of a finale, I reckon.
Well, with that, we will head to the ad break. So make sure you stick around for the finale of the World GT Championship here on the iRacing Esports Network, coverage by Racebot TV. Stick around, you won't want to miss this one.
the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Here we go then. The final race of the championship for Season 8. It is the World GT Championship from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And we've got one more race ahead of you here around this magnificent venue. Track temperature is up to 39 degrees here, so it won't be affecting these drivers too much, but it might be making it a little bit more slippy. It is worth mentioning as well, thank you very much to Freem, to Pure Sims, and also to Simortal for supporting the World GT Championship this season. Now, we would like to give you an up-to-date point standings. Unfortunately, at the moment, we can't do that because somebody's put a formula incorrectly or something like that. I don't know, I'm not a spreadsheet wizard. One person who is not as well is Chaz Draycott, but he joins me in the commentary box anyway. Chaz, we would like to give everybody a little bit of a run of the championship standings, but unfortunately that's not the case, so instead we've got a race 3 to just watch and enjoy for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. We get to enjoy this race as the very final one of the season. Can't wait to get it underway. But yes, as Paul says, unfortunately the final round doesn't count towards people's drop scores, basically. That's the long and short of it. The spreadsheet is still considering it as a drop round. So now we've had 2 races going on.
Yeah.
That's as much as they need for it to then count as a drop round because they've taken part in more than half of the evening, if that makes sense. But now that they've done 2 races, it's obviously dropping people's scores, mixing it up a bit when it shouldn't be. So the guys are working hard behind the scenes,
yeah.
Please be assured, and they will get it sorted out. And, well, it just means now, Paul, that, I mean, I think it's even a little bit more exciting. We kind of don't know, really. Obviously, there is a slight guarantee with Lars van Rijn just needing to finish ahead of his rivals in the AM Championship. Same with, obviously, Adam Watson as well in that one, but... in Pro-Am, but we'll have to see. But there is your grid then. Simon Field on pole position for Boosted Motorsport. And alongside him, his stablemate Lars van Rijn, who could become AM champion. Dean Powell will be trying to stop him from third on the grid. Daniel Lee in fourth, with Chris Byram and Michael Blake on row 3. Then we have Bradley Burns and Steve Burke, who will be very happy to be inside the top 10, with Ethan Bass with the work to do ahead of Mark Woodhouse, George McClay and Mohamed Janko. Behind them is Ben Gregory, car 113, position 1-3. Alex Neller in the Ford is in 14th ahead of Ev Doka and Pete Harrod, outgoing champion. He won't be happy about us saying that. Josh Thompson 17th, Ross McFarlane 18th, with your new champion Moreno Sorica in 19th, and his teammate Alex Arana rounds out your 20. Then we have Mike Horder alongside Harold Stadler. Cam Dance and Paolo Munoz make it a all-Ferrari row 12, with John Roberts hoping for that AM Championship with Simon Underhill alongside him. Then it's Chris Wood and Tom Jacobs recovering after his incident before. Then it's Steve McCaffrey and Adam Watson, the two drivers caught up in that incident before. Adam will be trying to pick his way through the field here to take the Pro-Am Championship, but he needs to finish ahead of his rivals behind to guarantee that. Most importantly, Ethan Bass. Carl Moore is in this race, though, after his blue screen earlier. Great to see Carl back on the grid for the very final race of the season, Paul. But, to be honest, it's a little bit sad that it's come to an end, mate. It's been a great season, hasn't it?
It certainly has, and it's 2x2 at the front of your field, by the way. It's 2 Boosted cars, and then 2 msimesuk.com cars alongside each other as well on the grid. Team Madcar in there as well. Michael Blake, he'll be just wanting to get as many points as possible. But this is it. This is the final round of this season's championship. We'll be looking forward to seeing how this one goes. But it is going to be Simon Field who heads the field. Pun very much intended there. But he is going to be the one taking them around that banking to start the final race. We saw last race Simon Underhill went early. Simon Field is holding them. He's waiting. It's not that much of a gap between him and the pace truck. Now he's going to go. The green flag is in the air for the final time. Barney, the iRacing flagman, waves the green flag, and we're away for 20 minutes of action in the World GT Championship. We're almost going 3 wide into turn 1. Lars van Rijn very cautious into turn 1. That's allowing Dean Powell, another one of your amateur drivers, alongside him, and he's going to drop down a place. We've got accident at the back of your field. Ben Gregory and also George McClay. Crucially, George McClay involved down your order. Oh, there's
Ethan.
There's all sorts of carnage. Alex Arana's been turned around as well.
So too Steve Burke
have
involved.
we got a block track, or are we clear? I think we're pretty much clear now.
Yeah, I've just jumped into the sim to watch that. Everybody just sort of fanned out once the contact had been made. Oh, mate. Josh. You can just tell he's just frustrated sitting there screaming, to be honest. Simon Field, though.
Gap.
I was going to say, he don't care. I think maybe a car near the front of the field had gone around and caused that. I'm just trying to look because I can't see Dean Powell. Dean Powell was involved and further down the order. So, we've had Woodhouse around. I think Dean Powell may have been the catalyst.
He's not the winner, thank you, Griffiths. He's definitely not the winner there. But he is down in 27th now, waiting, having to patiently wait for everyone. Well, let's see what happens here then. So at the front, it is Simon Field. Lars van Rijn is in an absolutely beautiful spot for him now. He's got Daniel Lee behind him. To be honest, he can let Daniel Lee go past here and hold on, because they've got such a gap between those drivers. So yeah, big big drama on lap number 1. We've got a car around. It's Mohammed Janko.
Oh, that's Ethan Bass. Ethan Bass made contact with him. That was Ethan jumping through the air. I think that might have been Adam Watson going off as well, but Ethan Bass suddenly turned into a monster truck there going over the jump. Oh, that's a bit sketchy as well from those two. I think Ethan's dropped all the way down here, Paul. Let me just have a look. He was last shown in 13th place.
He's still 13th, but he's got a lot of damage.
That scared the life out of me. Then honestly, I just saw his car in the middle of shot, airborne, as he hit Janko. So here he is, around the corner. Bang, that's a humongous hit. I hate to think how that car's handling. He's lucky it didn't sort of bounce and spin the other way there, isn't he?
He certainly is. That anything could have happened there for him.
Did he get a meatball for it?
Well, this is the question. How's that car handling? If it's still going in a straight line and he hasn't got a meatball flag for it, he'll be fine. But remember, there's no fast repair in a sprint race. So, Michael Blake and Cam Dancer. Blake's got damage to the front of his car, so I think he got caught up in that whole shenanigans at the front. Lars van Rijn holding the defensive line against Daniel Lee. Can he hold on to that second place? He wants a podium finish here. If they don't fight too hard, they can all pretty much finish on the podium. Van Rijn to the outside. He's going to have to concede that to Daniel Lee, though.
Oh, Daniel Lee was on the grass then, and the car started wobbling, and I just had some sort of foresight of the car wobbling and him snapping it, and it just going the other way into Lars' car there, and he just managed to do it. I'd be interested at seeing at some point, Paul, what happened at the very start, though, if you can try and grab us that, but no worries if not. But there was a big pile-up, as we saw. Steve Burke, Josh Thompson and Alex Arana lost out in that. Chris Byram also suffered damage and is retired. Ethan Bass still going, but he's holding 13th place, though. He's got McFarlane behind him, though, and Adam Watson up to 15th place. That is the Pro-Am Championship right there.
Well, I mean, the points have been updated now. They think that they've got it right.
I'll have a look for you.
But, well, Adam Watson, it's showing, was behind by 56 points. So he'd need a miracle if that's the case. We'll have to wait until it all comes out at the end of this one. Right, we're going to try and show what happened at the start of the race here. So let's go back. So we want to be looking at, it was Dean Powell, wasn't it? He was up near the front. So we'll have a look at Dean Powell to start with.
And interestingly enough, mate, Daniel Lee is now showing us second in the Pro-Am Championship. So we'll have to see. We'll get some confirmation later rather than speculating now. But obviously it's one of the M-Sands cars. Now, Michael Blake had damage on the front of his car, don't forget. So we'll see whether maybe he... Oh, Dean's lost it. Michael's going to clip him. And then there's a check-up. Oh, and Byram gets turned. Steve Burke's involved. He goes across. Oh, he gets hit again by Dean Powell. So Dean causing all sorts of issues. Harried in there. Ethan Bass rear ends Alex Arana. Josh Thompson avoids a couple of them, but then hits the last one. Bunny's said that he spotted something else in the points as well. But, oh, and there's a tap for Josh. See, look at this. Josh goes through. There's a bit of chaos. He's going slowly, to be fair to him. Sarika through the middle. Moreno Sarika somehow. How did Sarika do that? Did you see? I cannot believe that.
Right, we'll have another look here. Marina Sarika is up to 6th place, by the way, in all of this, and we will get back to live pictures, I promise. But right now, Sarika is sort of like, well, here we go. I've got a blocker, an NFL blocker, right in front of me to make some space there. So that's him through right there. So we'll get you back to live pictures now.
Moses Sarika, mate, honestly. What a fantastic bit of driving. Thompson said he got a slowdown, so that's why he had to get out of it, and he was quite fortunate in a way, and then, yeah, got caught out. But there is Sarika then. 13, just under 14 minutes to go. Cam Dance behind him. But again, what a fantastic evening's racing. It's been mental. Absolutely mental, hasn't it?
Well, Simon Field, still at the front of your field, by the way, doing a superb job there. But Michael Evdoka now has caught up to the back of Lars van Rijn. Now, Michael, the gloves are off. He wants to get as good a result. He would like a win to finish off this season here.
Yeah, definitely. He's had a bit of an up and down championship so far. He's shown that he's got great pace, but we just, unfortunately, haven't been able to see him consistently up there. Now, Ethan Bass was only 1 point ahead of Daniel Lee, apparently. So, like I say, we'll we'll have to just see what differences get made, because we've seen that championship change around so much, even in the last couple of rounds. So you never know, really. Even if the sheet isn't right at this point, we still wouldn't know anyway, because it's just going to be so close. But this little battle at the front is so enticing, because they've got Sarika now closing in. As you can see at the bottom of your screen there, 2.7 seconds back from Michael Avdoka. That gap is going down as well. But it's great to see these boosted cars at the front trying their very best to get this championship wrapped up. Daniel Lee, I mean, we've said, haven't we, Paul, how well he's been doing in the second half of this season. It's like he's come alive, and he's just really, really going strong. McFarlane there with Underhill tucked up, well, under the rear wing. Adam Watson is importantly ahead of Ethan Bass on track now. What a great drive this is to round out Watson's season, up to 13th place.
Well, here we are. We don't know how this is all going to finish out here. This is absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant stuff to watch. And, Lars van Rijn has lost the position now. Avdoka has gone through. And I think that's smart from Lars right now. Just play the percentages. You're in a really, really good position. It doesn't matter if you lose 2 or 3 more positions, because Michael Blake is your next amateur driver in 7th place. So it's not going to be there for him as Avdoka. Look at him. Him and Daniel Lee now are both keen on getting Simon Field's lead right here as they come around back onto the banking once again. Final time for the season in this race in terms of this race now. Final round, gloves are off, everybody's going for it. Daniel Lee to the outside, Simon Field middle is going to go Michael Avdoka. That gap's not there, or is it? Because Avdoka's making that gap to the middle. He's gained 1 position there. He's looking to keep it alongside Feeble. A little squeeze. And Daniel Lee's not going to give this up, because now he's coming back on the inside. Brilliant stuff for the final round of the championship. And yes, there was just the slightest of touches, but that's it. Nothing too bad.
Wow, that was feisty. That's as feisty as you want it, that. Really good stuff from these guys. Love to see them getting their elbows out a bit. It could have been a very different story there for Simon Field. It could have easily been turned around. Avdoka and Lee now they're battling. It's giving Simon Field a little bit of a chance to run away. So you never know. He could still go on and win this. There's just no knowing at this stage. This is the beauty of the World GT Championship this season. When we've had these reverse grid races and someone's holding on to the lead well enough, we have no idea who is going to win these races. It's absolutely phenomenal. Daniel Lee, how is he holding on like this?
These two have been side by side for nearly an entire lap, and the problem for them is this man right here. Moreno Sarika has rocked up onto the scene. He wants a piece of the action now. We're going to go 2 by 2 through the banking, but that McLaren got some good speed. Don't forget about that. But Sarika then up into 4th place, your pro champion, wanted to finish on a high. Don't see he's going to dive to the inside. He's there, but the gap is not there. And for the time being, once again, Lee and Avdoka, finally Avdoka to the front of Daniel Lee.
For now, you never know what these boys have got on their sleeves. That was close on the brakes there from Daniel. Sarika putting his nose down the inside. He's going to gain the place over the msignsuk.com machine as well now. So once again, it's a Williams car and a Pure Sims car having a bit of a battle together. Well, this is a great way for the season to end. We're into the second half of the race. Mike Horder, outgoing champion, and that was Michael Blake off the circuit.
That's crucial. That's crucial for the amateurs.
It is. And Michael, that's a big hit in the front end. It's almost an open-wheeled Formula BMW now at the front end.
Ross McFarlane was involved in there as well. We need to wind it back just a little bit more. So Blake and Horder, side by side. They're never going to give up. They're both feisty characters. Blake inside. He just ran it deep, did Blake. That's and Horder, nothing that he could do about that. He held his line. And Ross McFarlane getting involved there.
Yeah, I don't really think there was anywhere McFarlane could have gone. Michael was frustrated, obviously, on the brakes, getting the car stopped as soon as possible, so he wasn't in anybody's way, but he actually was when he was on the apex. Sarika now going past Avdoka down the straight, taking 2nd place overall in this race. Great drive from Moreno. Started 19th on the grid, Avdoka hanging it around the outside. Daniel Lee still in there as well, though. Great performance from the msignsuk.com car. Lars Van Rijn in there too. Cam Dance just behind them. Cam's made a good recovery back up the field. Lars just needs to play this safe now to wrap up this title, but Cam is dancing around all over the back of him. I wasn't even intending that pun, actually. Genuinely wasn't. But, I mean, we've got a nice mix going on here, Paul, and you can see Lars takes a wide line and says, after you, mate. After you. I don't need to worry too much at the moment. I just need a good, strong top 10 finish, and he's still a long way ahead of the next dam. The next dam? Flipping heck, it's not even on the first page of the timing screen. The next dam down is Dean Powell down in 25th.
Mike Horder has had another spin. I don't know whether he was helped. Let's find out. I think he's going to do this all on his own here. So he's further down. So he'll have had a lot of heat put on through his tyres. And into the brakes. The back end doesn't look secure there. And yeah, around he goes. Ben Gregory was a bit slow there as well. And Horder doing the right thing, reversing before then pulling away.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, sometimes while it will lose you a lot of time in your race compared to just trying to get back on straight away, you need to do the safe thing there. Make sure you don't ruin anybody else's race and just crack on to the best of your ability without cutting across the circuit. So, Simon Field still leads the way, doing a great job at the moment. Sarika in second, Avdoka in third. Now we're on board with fifth place Cam Dance. Just behind him is still Lars Van Rijn, and then Alex Neller, importantly, is seventh. So he's going to be giving his teammate a bit of an easy ride, I reckon, when it comes up to inevitably catching him. We know how quick Neller is in that Ford. But this top five is a very interesting one because Daniel Lee, he'll feel a bit out of place at the moment. Simon Field might as well, but great to see these Pro-Ams once again showing us the level of commitment they've got to be going up against these pro drivers. There's no obviously black and white way of saying that some of these pros are definitely faster than the Pro-Ams. It's just that the level of competition is so tight, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah.
The Pro-Am category, you see them battling with the pros quite a lot, and it's great, it really is.
Speaking of battling, Pro-Am, Paulo Munoz and Ethan Bass. Ethan's doing a fantastic job to stay in 14th place right here. And as they go through, we've just had the message, no, they haven't got the spreadsheet fixed, unfortunately for us. To the inside, Ethan is looking, and right, oh, Munoz!
Oh!
I think that was just the back end snapping out on him there. That transfer of weight you talked about as McCaffrey and also Carl Moore to the inside. Tom Jacobs is trying to get involved as well.
Yeah, Tom thinking, right, here's a Ferrari I can overtake. Let's try and pick him off. Oh, not that easy when it's Paulo Munoz. Here's what happened. Into the left-hander he goes. Car on his right, squeezes him. Oh no, actually, the car wasn't there still on his right, luckily as well, because he just lost the back end as that weight transfer. I was talking about it before, wasn't it? The weight transfer of that section of the circuit. You're going one way, then the other. It's very easy to unsettle the car. There's Steve McCaffrey then ahead of his fellow Audi driver, Ethan Bass. Carl Moore just behind as well. Carl's having a really good run, to be fair.
Started
in this
last.
Final race. Yeah, up to 15th. Great stuff. Yeah, Williams is the team's champion, Bradley. That is all confirmed at that
end. That is definitely confirmed, yes.
Yeah, it's the Pro-Ams team that we've got to somehow figure out at the end, which I'm hoping for a confirmed sheet. But yeah, Matt's just saying that he may need your own to have a look over it. But I mean, at this point, Paul, I think the only one that we probably can't confirm off just pure guesswork is the teams and actually the Am is definitely wrapped up if Lars finishes where he is. But the Pro-Am one, it's just dependent on what those drop scores are, because it makes a big difference, because it either puts Ethan like 3 points ahead, 56 points ahead, or 70 points behind. So
yeah,
the difference in the drop scores is huge.
As well, look at this, Michael Avdoka coming under pressure from Daniel Lee.
Lying in, Daniel Lee.
And down to the outside as the lead battle as well is ongoing. Moreno Sarika, Simon Field putting up a staunch defence there ahead of Moreno Sarika. Sarika will be thinking, come on, just let me by, will you? I'm faster than you. But the Boosted Motorsports car, they're fighting for a Pro-Am Teams Championship, and every point will matter in that one.
It'd be really nice to see Sarika let Simon take this win, you know, because he's already got the championship wrapped up. Williams have got the team's championship.
He wants to finish it in style.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, I mean, having that pace advantage, I mean, I would have thought he'd maybe got past by now, but he's potentially waiting till the straight, isn't he? Oh, no, never mind. Shut up, Chaz, he says. Watch this. Chucks it down the inside. Simon runs a little bit deep. Now they're going to overlap again. Sarika tries to carry it around the outside. He's really going to hinder Simon now if he goes back down the inside again. Evdoka closing up as well. Simon Field holds it to the inside. Sarika clips the grass. Evdoka says, thank you very much, Sunshine. See you in a bit. Daniel Lee is all over the back of him as well. And Daniel Lee, he's in the fight for the Pro-Am Championship, you know.
Now, Simon Field is compromised around there because he had a compromised entry into that corner that swings you onto this back straight, so he's going to be slower. Evdoka's got a slipstream. Marina Sarika's got a side draft as well, and Sarika cleverly is boxing in Michael Evdoka. There's a bit of argy-bargy shoulders coming out there. Sarika to the outside for the lead. He's gone deep. Simon Field still holds on to it. There's contact between Evdoka and Sarika. Sarika's round. Daniel Lee's caught up in that. That means that Cam Dance is now in second place, and Simon Field still leads this one.
How is Field still ahead of these boys? That's amazing stuff. Real shame to see the contact there between Sarika and Evdoka. I just think Michael didn't really give him the room as he came back in. Let's have a look. So Sarika loses the back end a bit, goes in deep. He's on the white line as Evdoka makes the contact. I think Evdoka would have kept his foot in there, probably just thinking, oh, get out of it. Sarika somehow ends up pointing the right way quite quickly, nearly makes contact with Lars van Rijn. But, yeah, that's how you get a place back very quickly, everybody. But, I just think Evdoka didn't really leave the room there, I'm afraid, when he came into the left-hander. But it's easy to do there, isn't it? When you run wide and you turn into that left, it is easy to just commit to the corner straight away. But with 1 lap to go, Simon Field's sitting pretty in this race, and this is exactly what Boosted Motorsport want.
Yes, absolutely. 1.4 seconds, and this is going to be the start of the final lap of the final race of the season. Across the line, 1.5 seconds across the line. He's ahead of Cam Dance, Daniel Lee. They're too far back. Simon needs to keep this clean now. He needs to just keep it on the grey stuff. Look after it. That McLaren, it's notorious for being twitchy, and he will be determined to get the win here. It's in his hands right now here, isn't it, Chaz?
It really is. And I know that he'll be nervous. I mean, even when I've been leading a race on lap 1 in the World GT Championship, I've been nervous before, as we all watched me bin it a few seasons ago from pole at the very first corner at Watkins Glen. But to be honest, Simon's driven a great race. He's held on to it for a very, very long time. And, well, the defensive driving's been epic. Having Sarika behind him, then Evdoka, and then Evdoka and Sarika, all having a go. Cam Dance has got to think about Daniel Lee as well. Cam just can't seem to get it done. Simon Field has got the opportunity now to just take this very easy. He needs to mind that polished bit of grass out the final corner. But it's looking like the very final corner of the season and the very final race is going to go to Simon Field here, Paul. Fantastic stuff. Amazing.
Well, here we are. Boosted Motorsports will be dancing in the fields of Lincolnshire right now. The team boss will be delighted with this, because across the line to take victory in race number 3 of the evening, it is Simon Field from Boosted Motorsports. What a victory for him. He had to do it the hard way, but what a way to finish off the championship. Cam Dance finishes in second place by 0.085 of a second across the line. Simon Underhill only just beats Chris Wood across the line as well. Mohammed Janko, he's coming across the line up the tailpipe of Pete Harrod. Rest of your drivers coming through right now. Dean Powell had a nightmare of a race there. And John Roberts, Mr. Consistent, getting those points down your order. But we have to say, congratulations, Simon Field, a thoroughly deserved win in this final round of the championship. That race had everything in there. And well,
that was amazing.
That was unbelievable.
That really rounds out the championship, that does, because the racing we've seen there, the difference in the AM drivers, the Pro-Am drivers and the pros all racing together, and giving everything. They were really giving everything in that one. That was amazing to watch. And for Simon Field, and it's no offence to Simon, but out of all the people we could have picked to win a race tonight, I don't think Simon Field would have been on anybody's list, in all fairness, because we've seen how quickly some of the pro drivers can come through from the middle or the back of the field and still take a win in these sprint races. That has been absolutely amazing. Just what a drive. So much great defensive effort. Ben Gregory's going to come and photobomb now, as you can see.
Yeah.
But to be honest, Paul, what a season. What an absolutely amazing season.
There we go. Ben Gregory giving it the old photo bomb. But Boosted Motorsports and Boosted Sim Sports, they'll be delighted with that. There's 4 of their cars going around right now. And well, let us run you through the final results of the championship. There you go. Simon Field. Championship is over with a win for Simon Field in the end. That's a great result from the Pro-Am driver. Cam Dance second ahead of Daniel Lee in third place. Michael Avdoka fourth then after that incident with Moreno Sorica, who finishes in fifth. Lars van Rijn, I think it's safe to say that he's the amateur champion. Sixth place in the end. That is exactly what he needed right there. Seventh, Alex Nella in the Ford with Adam Watson 8th. Ross McFarlane 9th ahead of Simon Underhill in 10th place. Chris Wood then right behind him in 11th place ahead of Steve McCaffrey. Bradley Burns, good drive from him in 13th ahead of Ethan Bass. Paulo Munoz 15th in the end ahead of Tom Jacobs, who only just finished ahead of George McClay. Ben Gregory rounding out in 18th ahead of Carl Moore in 19th, who did drop down the order. I did notice in all of that. Harold Stadler in 20th place. Pete Harrod, Mohammed Janko, Mark Woodhouse, Mike Horder, Dean Powell and John Roberts in 26th place. We don't know if Michael Blake will have been classified as scoring 0.6 laps. That's over 50%. So he was 6 laps down. That's over 50%. So he will score points for 27th. But the rest do not. Chris Byram, Steve Burke, Josh Thompson, and Alex Arana.
That race had it all. Apologies for having a bit of a laugh there. I just flicked into the sim just to see what was going on, if there was anyone doing donuts, and there was a BMW on its roof going absolutely supersonic near the final corner. It was hilarious. But wow, Paul, what a final race. What a season. It's been incredible, hasn't it, mate?
It certainly has. And we could definitely call 3 championships, I feel. Mm-hmm. Moreno Sorica has definitely won the Pro Championship, Pro Drivers Championship. And I would say as well, Lars van Rijn, with his performances tonight, he did exactly what he needed to do. He'll have won the Amateur Championship. The question is, Pro-Am and the Pro-Am Teams Championships, because at the moment, the spreadsheet is showing Adam Watson in the lead of the championship. These results will be subject to final confirmation by the series admins, and the best thing to do will be to keep up to date on the World GT Championship website. That will be your best place to keep up to date with everything. That's wgtc.uk. I'm going to put that in the chat for you there. It's tight to call in Pro-Am.
It really is.
I do think that Adam Watson has... I feel that Adam Watson has done enough to win the championship with the lead that he had going into this round. We'll have to get the old abacus out there. And, well, the Pro Teams Championships as well. Williams Esports, they've definitely sealed that. They have secured that. I would say as well, Boosted Motorsport should win the Pro-Am Teams Championships with their performances today. They've had an excellent day in the office. Why don't we, and Chaz, you can take it away, series admin, a man with the biggest headache going right now, Matt Bunn, is here, your series admin, with Chaz Draker.
Bunny, I know that you'll be running around like a blue backsided what's-it right now, mate, but, I mean, just before we get onto the spreadsheet, before we get onto the numbers, what have you made of this season? Because, I mean, from up here in the commentary box with Paul and on the race spot broadcast on the iRacing Esports Network, it has been phenomenal.
Yeah, I think definitely this has probably been one of the best seasons yet. Obviously, we're 8 seasons in now, and every season we sort of come close to the end of the season and get everyone's feedback, put out a little feedback form, and we sort of make small amendments where we feel it might benefit the series. And yeah, each time we have gained a little bit from those little changes. And yeah, we've got a really good bunch of guys that race in the series. The racing's just sort of getting cleaner and cleaner and closer and closer. I think having the 3 tiers this season has been really good. But yeah, as you've seen all the way through to the final round, all 3 championships sort of we're down to the wire, which is what we want to see every season. And sort of the last few seasons we have seen it, which is great.
Yeah, it has been amazing. I mean, it keeps us working our heads off as well up here in terms of trying to figure out the points. And we've got, I mean, there's people in the chat saying they had Ethan 27 points down before race 3 based on where it was up to before that. And, you know, I think
those drop rounds have really...
yeah, they've sort of kept it interesting, haven't they?
But my head is spinning.
I'm not surprised. But that's why they come in, isn't it? You know, drop scores, just real life gets in... not gets in the way, Chaz. Come on. Real life comes first ahead of all of this sort of stuff. So, you know, you have drop scores in there because sometimes people can't make rounds. It depends on what time of year it is. People have other commitments. You know, it's just part of how it is. And it's a fair rule to have. Obviously, it causes a bit of a headache for you sometimes in that one, but
it's all right when it's all automated and working. But yeah, it's just that last round. It's because we had the issues. I think iRacing update was it for Daytona or something. So because that round isn't included, right. Yeah, it's all just got confused.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably take your own about 2 seconds, but I'm trying to look at all the code in all the different cells and yeah.
Yeah, it's your own Kaiser, the spreadsheet wizard, everybody who keeps the numbers ticking in the background. But yeah, I mean, obviously that Daytona race that was abandoned would have been the sort of thorn in the side of the numbers. But I mean, the drivers this season that you've had, is particularly obviously from your part, Bunny. Is there anybody that stood out for you?
I think Lars Van Ryn for me. I think he's just as an overall driver, he's really progressing well. I think a lot of the boosted guys, I sort of keep an eye on them. Sort of notice that they're sort of getting better, and because they've stuck with us from sort of season 1, so they sort of stand out just because I followed them from the start sort of thing. And seen how they've progressed season upon season. But they're the Williams guys as well. You know, they're just, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the drives we saw this season in the reverse grid races where they came back through. I mean, look at Josh Thompson. I mean, I wrote it down as one of my highlights of the season. Josh Thompson's almost clean sweep at Catalunya. You know, he qualified on pole. He won race 1. He finished, I think, second in race 2 and won race 3. That's just with 2 reverse grids, and I mean the caliber of drivers at the front end of this field to fight with. That's just phenomenal stuff. And his teammates as well. You know, new champion Sarika, and of course Arana as well. The 3 of them, like you say, mate, they've been a bunch of absolute stars. But the thing is,
they've raced really well. I mean, we've seen the thing with the World GC. We have got quite what's the word?
Diverse.
Exactly, diverse grid of varying different speeds, and it spices up the race. And you've got, as a driver, you've got to really think of how you're racing, who you're racing against. And we've seen other sort of alien drivers, if you like, sort of come into the series, and they sort of get into involved in incidents, and they swear a lot about the driving. But I think sometimes, as an alien driver, you've got to come in and sort of use your noggin a little bit more, and that's exactly what they've done. And they've really thought about how they've driven and who they're driving against and what potentially they could do. You know, judging an AM driver maybe being a bit late on the brakes, or they've been good at judging those sort of things, and it's paid off.
And obviously in the background as well, behind the scenes in Discord, they've been getting involved with the banter. They've really blended in with the series and everyone that's in it, and it's been very different to some of the teams we've seen before. We do have to move on though, unfortunately, Bunny, and speak to some of the many drivers that are waiting to speak to us. But thank you for joining us, Bud. And before we let you go, do you want to just give a quick shout to anybody?
Yeah. Thanks to you guys. You've done an awesome job this season with the commentary, and also obviously with 3M. Thanks a lot to Jonathan for sort of backing the series and supporting the series. Hopefully, long may it continue. There'll be some exciting news of, what Jonathan and 3M are going to be offering our community soon. I won't go into too much detail of that, but I think we'll see 3M next season, I think, and hopefully then share some news on that front. And yeah, Pure Sims for supporting us as well. I think that's it. I probably forgot people because my head's still spinning looking at all the numbers in the spreadsheet. But yeah, thanks everyone.
Where can you get specialist made models of sim racing cars, Matt, that support this league? Why that would be Simmortal, wouldn't it, Matt?
Yes, it would. Sorry, I had...
The logo is literally under us right now as we talk, so yeah.
I was waiting for it to scroll through. Like I said, my head is spinning. It is spinning.
Love it.
We'll let you get off, Matt, and,
I'm going to try and sort these out.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks a lot,
Cheers,
Matt.
guys. Thank you.
Fantastic.
So that series has been Matt Bunn getting all sorts of in a twist. What we will do now is we'll bring in both of them, but first of all, congratulations on the championship. Moreno Sarica, what did you make of this championship? We've not spoken to you all season, but that was a sensational season from yourself and from the whole Williams team, getting the Pro Teams Championship as well.
Yeah, I gotta say, first of all, thanks to my teammate, because first of all to Josh, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even raise this championship. And of course to Alex as well. He always had our back when we were raising other stuff. He was preparing already some setup works. And yeah, what to say? I mean, championship is so much fun. I literally enjoyed a lot, especially the reverse grid. And I mean, sometimes, bad stuff can happen. Like it happens in the last race tonight to me.
Yeah.
But sometimes racing incident, sometimes wrong evaluation of the situation. But we had also drop round, so it's all fine. All fine.
Well, I mean, you basically only had to finish 2 of the races in the points this week to secure the championship. So you certainly did that in the first 2 races. But as a whole, has it been quite a learning experience for you with those reverse grids and drivers not quite the same level of competitiveness as you?
Absolutely. Because, training overtaking during a race is not, I think you can do in practice, is not the same thing. Absolutely. Yeah. And managing those kind of stuff is important in high level of competition. We are actually doing PES quali, me and Josh. And I have to say, it was a very learning this championship.
Okay, well, I'm going to bring your teammate Josh into this now because, I mean, that was one of the drives of the season coming through in race number 2 from the back of the grid. That was sensational, Josh. But as a whole, we've seen you many times in this championship. You're a team champion here. You must be delighted with that.
Yeah, first off, with the race itself, I didn't expect it to go that well. As you know, I picked the wrong car for the race 1, which didn't help at all. So that just summed up this season. So I was literally, I said to the boys, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go and do Porsche practice for the race this weekend at Sebring. And I just joined with like 5 minutes to go and went, let's have a bit of fun for the last race. And to be honest, it was really fun. A lot better than I thought it was going to go. And yeah, but the team thing, yeah, I can't thank these guys enough for it. Obviously, bringing new people into this series, as we've seen before, it can go one way or another way.
Yeah.
And for us, it paid out really well. I think the guys really enjoyed it. Like Moreno said, it was a learning experience, and that helps, especially for us doing the push. We can just evaluate so much more stuff, what's happening with the chaos. Same with even like the multi-class racing, you can still pick things up when not to go for stuff, when to go for stuff. So overall, it's a benefit for us even to do this. I know people say it was a bit easy for us, but we still had to work as hard as anyone else would do.
And you were fighting against each other as well. Let's not forget about that. There was no team orders for you, so that's for sure. I'm going to bring it back to Moreno then. Before we let you go, is there anyone you just want to give a quick mention to whilst here? Any sponsors or any special mentions?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, all teammates and also our sponsors, Chill Blast, Playseat, Deus Belt, Razer, and what I forgot, Josh.
Even I've not even paid attention to what you said.
Oh my god.
To be fair, just before that, Josh had actually said he's going to forget the sponsors here in this chat. Well, he actually said it in the YouTube chat. Seb Hawkins has said he's been sacked.
Just all the sponsors, they're done. Sorry, Seb.
Well, anyway, congratulations. That is absolutely sensational performance from you guys, and you did it in the right attitude as well. You enjoyed it, you had fun, and that's the main thing. And congratulations, both of you, on the team championship, on the pro team championship, and Moreno, congratulations on winning the Pro Drivers Championship.
Yeah, well done, lads. Smashing stuff.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
Well done.
So there we go. That's your
Beautiful.
pro teams champions and also pro champion Moreno Sirica. We're going to try and fire through everybody who's waiting patiently. Next one, I'm just having a look at the spreadsheet before I look at the next one. Right, so at the moment,
yes,
subject to change.
It does look right to me, that.
So subject to any changes, and don't forget, there are stewards' decisions to be made, and points can be adjusted after that. So keep an eye on their website and the wgtc.uk. We are going to speak to the man who, at the moment, is your Pro-Am Drivers Champion, Adam Watson. How was this evening for you? I think you will have aged about 10 years, wouldn't you?
Oh, race 3 could not have ended sooner. Like, it was just taking forever. I was just like, I had Sammy for a brilliant spot tonight. I was like, can this race just end? just end. Like, the last 6 minutes took about 6 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, it flew by from up here, mate. But I can imagine behind the wheel, that wasn't the easiest of drives. But I mean, you made so many places up there. I mean, you must be very pleased with how it went overall.
Oh yeah, like I wasn't expecting race 2 to happen. I was like, I'll just take it easy race 2 after race 1, and then race 3. I was like, back when I went, well, I'm gonna have to go for it now.
Yeah,
Nothing to lose, and then just try to pick my way through everyone. Some people decided to part ways. It's like Moses. So, but yeah, just try and get through the field, and then got to 8th, and I was just trying to stay there. I had Ross behind me, and I just thought, if I could stay in 8th, I think that's done it. I think that's actually got me the title.
Well, I mean, it was very confusing for us up here because obviously I'm not sure if you knew of the issue with the spreadsheet and the drop scores because of the I mean, unfortunately for you as well, because of the abandoned race at Daytona, quite ironically enough, where you were running second overall and in that endurance race, that actually didn't sort of count towards the drop scores in the spreadsheet because there was nothing populating that sort of list of results. So it then started putting Indianapolis, as they were putting the results in, it started counting them as the drop scores because obviously they were lower after 2 races compared to a lot of the 3 race meetings. So, I mean, that was all going on. Paul and I were frantically trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Did you have guys at your end as well just sort of going at you in your ear saying, right, you need this many points, you need this guy to finish here? Was that all going on?
So when I was in the pits for race 2, we was working out frantically, me, Carl, and some of the others were just working out how many points I needed, where I would need to finish, how many points Ethan Bass got, how many points Daniel Lee got, wherever they would finish. If they won, where would I need to finish?
Yeah.
We were just trying to work out as much as possible, and then got to one and was like, oh, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
If I win it, I win it. If I don't, then I've just come up short.
Well, as long as you know you've given it everything, and I mean, we certainly saw that you were doing that in the final race as well. I mean, again, I say it was a fantastic drive, mate. Talk to me about the obviously the battle between you and Ethan Bass going back and forth, and obviously Daniel Lee as well. I mean, Daniel Lee was right at the front of the pack in that final race, getting involved with the pro drivers. But when you caught up to Ethan in the mid pack, did it sort of cross your mind that that's all you needed to do, or did you know that Daniel was in a position to do it as well?
I saw that Daniel was higher, but on the front of mine was Ethan, and I thought if we can get past him, try and build a gap, and then we'll just see what happens from there.
Yeah.
I saw Moreno and Docker up there as well, so I thought maybe that'll take some points off Lee, but you just don't know because that race 3 was just frantic from what we could see. But I knew once I got to 8th, I couldn't go any higher, so I was just praying to see what would happen.
Well, it worked out for you, mate, and obviously subject to terms and conditions and whatever else you are at the moment. And obviously by us, we do congratulate you on being the Pro-Am champion for Season 8 of the World GT Championship, mate. We do need to fire through the 1,000,001 other interviews, I'm afraid, but just before we let you go, do you want to give a shout out to anybody?
Yeah, I just want to give a massive thank out to the whole team of Pacework Esports. It's not just the people who are driving, but all the ones behind the scenes. You guys for doing some amazing streams. All the sponsors of Pacework Esports, but also just a massive thank you to everyone who donated in our charity streams. In our charities, we raised like over £1,136.
That's amazing.
For both of them.
Well done, mate.
Yeah, so a massive thank you to everyone who donated or shared, who supported the fundraising.
Smashing. Well, great to speak to you as always, Adam. Thank you very much. Well done on raising that much amount of money as well, because that's amazing. Really is a great achievement. And so too is winning the championship, bud. So go and enjoy your evening. Have a beer, a champagne, whatever you want to have. And I'm sure we'll speak to you again next season, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers. A cracking lad.
Absolutely, he's cracking lad. Right, we're going to start firing through these. Alex Neller is next. Now, he is a man who has had an eventful time in this season, switching over to the Ford GT and finishing 4th in Pro-Am as it stands at the moment. We're constantly saying that. But, as things stand as well, Pro-Am team champion, Alex Neller. How does that feel?
It is a great feeling, yeah, and it's a great feeling to be 4th in the potentially 4th in the drivers' standings. Today has just been a fantastic day for Boosted in general. Wrapping up the team's title, looks like we're actually going to be 1-2 in the Pro-Am teams as well, and Simon picking up a victory as well. It was just a fantastic day for us.
Yeah, that was a sensational drive from Simon. You yourself, however, you seem to be struggling with the car around here. It seemed to be a bit of a handful, and you were getting involved in a couple little incidents here and there as well.
Yes, yeah, it was certainly not my finest hour tonight. Definitely a couple of mistakes on my part. A couple of missed braking points and just silly little things like going wide and hitting the grass, and then the car just sort of grinded along a little grass bank. That was what cost me all the places at the end of race 2. I was really struggling to make the Ford work. Had massive problems overheating the rear tyres, so it was in the last 3 or 4 laps of the race. It was pretty much just like driving a shopping trolley. It was just on ice.
Well, we do, as I say, we do have to fire through these interviews. But before we go, who do you want to mention whilst you're here?
So just like to give a shout out to all of the Boosted guys. Again, to Simon for a fantastic win, Lars for a fantastic campaign in the AM drivers, and all of the administrators and you guys as well for a fantastic show every week.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Alex, and congratulations on the team's championship.
Thank you. See you later, guys.
So we go. That's Alex Neller. The next one I want to speak to, we'll bring them both in here. In fact, Chaz, why don't you take it away with both Ross McFarlane and Michael Evdoka?
Well, gentlemen, we've certainly spent a lot of time in Discord over the last couple of weeks, but here we are now at the end of a fantastic World GT Championship season. And I'll start with you, Michael. We were saying in the broadcast, mate, that early on in the season, you showed that the pair of you obviously had the pace to keep up with the Williams Esports guys, but that seemed to drop off a little bit mid-season for you. How did it feel to be back up with them again tonight?
Yeah, fantastic, to be honest. I mean, the Ferrari is just lacking a little bit of punch out of the corners, and it showed at certain tracks. This track it's definitely a Ferrari track, but then it's got that big long straight, so the Z4 was just pulling away 2/10 down the straight, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, I mean, I dropped off mid-season because I actually went away and I had a temporary rig. So yeah, I was struggling for control and all the rest of it. But yeah, it was a great season all round.
Well, I mean, we've seen quite a lot that the changes that the season makes each time, whether it be big or small, this always provides great racing in this championship. Was there any certain highlight that you can think of that would sort of sum up your season?
No, I didn't really have any wins. Well, I didn't have any wins this season. I can't even remember a podium apart from tonight. So yeah, it was just about being consistent and getting those 0x's. Get the bonus points, and just sort of try and keep up with the Williams guys.
Well, I mean, it certainly looked like a bit of a challenge to try and do that, mate. But obviously, before we let you go and obviously chat to the very humble McFarlane, is there anyone you want to have a shout out to, I should say?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the drivers. They've done an absolutely fantastic job to keep it going throughout the season and being clean and being competitive and making things fun. You guys for the broadcast, absolutely fantastic job. I love watching it back. And the admins, always worth shouting out to them. They do a big effort to put this on. And obviously getting sponsors and such this season was a big thank you. So thank you to those guys.
Smashing. Well, best of luck for next time we speak to you, Michael, as well, and let me know when you sort that kitchen floor, yeah?
Cheers, mate.
Ross McFarlane, then. Ross, to be honest, mate, you've made that Mercedes look like a real weapon this season, and I mean, when you made the change to it, we were all quite surprised, but how have you found it in this latter half of the season? I mean, you managed to get some good results out of it, at least.
Yeah, it's... I've come to grips with it. It's obviously not the strongest car, but I think that's why I went to it. I wanted a car that, for this series, it's not terrible because it does supply a bit of grunt and a bit of pliability, and I can work with the setup. So, in that respect, it's stronger than maybe the Ferrari is. But in terms of cornering and just consistency with the car, it is a nightmare. So no, I think I did get to grips with it, and I've enjoyed quotations driving it for the for the remainder of the season that I did drive it with.
Well, I mean, me and Paul was very surprised at the beginning of the season when there weren't any on the grid, and obviously you and I think Ben Hackerson was the only other driver that was in that car. But still, like I say, mate, you've done a great job of putting it up there. By the look of it, I mean, me and Paul are saying a lot of the championship standings provisionally, of course, but it looks like you're third in the standings by a couple of points. I'm sure you'll be pretty happy with that overall, considering the level of competition.
Yeah, a bit of what Mike said. It's just been about knocking in the consistent results. I think me and Mike have done it slightly differently, but we've had the same kind of approach this season. He's done, the best clean racing that he can possibly do, scoring all the bonus points for having no incidents, and that's pretty fantastic. I've kind of gone for the keep it in the top 10, keep it in the top 20, score a few podiums here and there. I think I've maybe picked up 10 or 12 podiums and only one win. But, the Williams guys are so strong, that you're very rarely going to have any chance to compete with them directly on track. So it's about getting them any other way you can. So just being consistent, scoring the points. And it looks like I've got third place. I think it was very close between myself, George McClay, and Alex Arana. But Alex had a couple of incidents in that last meeting, and George had a spin in the last race. But I feel like I was maybe a little bit aggressive in the first couple races, just trying to get past George and outscore him. But no, I think that's the third time I've come third in the drivers, so I've got to improve it at some point, but I'll try my best.
Well, hopefully you can next week. I just want to highlight the irony as well of Bomberman of Doka from Rocket League playing the clean tactics in iRacing and not in Rocket League, but
Exactly.
it's what it is. But yeah, pleasure to speak to you both, boys. I didn't know, Michael, you were still there. Sorry, mate. Great to speak to you, though, gents. Always a pleasure, and hopefully we'll see you next season.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers, boys.
There we go.
Smashing.
Yeah, so smashing for them, smashing for this man as well. Daniel Lee, not only third place in the race here, but it looks like, subject to final confirmation, second place in the Pro-Am standings. I mean, it's close, but you must be happy with how things have gone this season.
Oh, super happy with how the last race has gone. That is, if you remember last race, I was talking about, getting some ointment for the burns along the way. This was it. It could have been better. Got a black flag in race 1 that cost me about 10, 12 places. It was really, really unjust. And that could be what essentially cost me the top spot in the Pro-Ams. But it takes away from each of them. I'm sure Adam's had plenty of instances where it's happened to him. But I'm happy with the way it's gone. So close at the end, and what can you ask for? For it to come down to the last race is just a dream. So the format and the composition is really good.
It's certainly a dream. It's a nightmare for us on the broadcast to try and figure everything out, but certainly a dream. But as a whole, then, your championship, how have you thought? I know that the MSimes UK.com team are not going to be competing next season, which we will miss you. But how have you found this championship as a whole?
I'll miss you guys as well, and the grid as well. The championship is really, really competitive. I think it's just a case of the format doesn't translate very well to the way me and Dean tend to race. We don't get long enough to really put the pace down.
Yeah.
I'm not a very sort of I need a bit of warming up basically when it comes to the triple headers, and I always seem to really tumble down in race 1, and that leaves me in the cold end of the grid and miss the reverse grid multiple times. So the violins can play, but everyone's the same. It's just brutal. So we'll stick to what we're good at. We're good at the enduros, we're good at the mid-length races, and the triple headers can be left to the extremely hard and competitive races that are in this grid. So happy, but once was enough.
Okay, well, before we let you go anyway, anyone you're going to give a quick mention to whilst you're here in the broadcast?
Shout out to you guys for doing a great job of the broadcast. Always been good. MSimesUK.com for tagging along with us. They've enjoyed it, and seeing their branding on the car has been just lovely for them. And to everybody on the grid, and to my wife Claire for being the best cheerleader possible. That's it. Thank you very much.
You've thanked the most important person right there, that's for sure. But thank you very much, Daniel, and all the best in your future championships.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Farewell, chaps. See you again.
Cheers. Happy but once is enough. I've heard that before. Who's next?
Well, who's next, Chaz? Take it away with the man who finished in second place in the race.
Well, it's the man that races sat in a bathtub. It's Cam Dance. Fantastic stuff. Cam, you've had a lively season. Paul and I sort of knew you at points as the snowplow, as you had a few incidents earlier in the season, but it certainly looked like you've got the most, probably one of the drivers in the field that's got the most enjoyment out of the racing. You seem to always be in a battle somewhere.
Yeah, it's been a pretty up and down season in general, with all sorts of crazy moments, like you said. But yeah, there's been a few moments such as tonight where it's actually gone quite well. So yeah, it's been one of those seasons where it's been a bit mediocre, but at the same time quite good. So yeah, I'm not going to complain at all.
Well, I mean, the Ferrari and I mean the whole team, to be fair, looked very strong all season. I mean, there always seemed to be a Fitstye car on screen somewhere, whether it be one of the Renvale ones or the Texense ones. Have you found sort of getting on with the team and working together in such a frantic championship, especially in these sprint race formats?
Yeah, it's been really, really good to work with the likes of George and Harold and a few others that I haven't really had a chance to work with before. So yeah, that was really, really fun and really, really good to sort of work over the 12 weeks in like you said, frantic championship. I've done that sort of thing with World Championship stuff before and dirt, and that stuff's pretty hectic. But yeah, it was really, really good in the end of the day to work together with the guys and get the results that we did in the end.
Well, you certainly did do a good job of it, mate. And like I say, you were probably one of the more exciting drivers out there as well from me and Paul's perspective, which is always a good thing. Plenty of airtime for the sponsors and for the team. But before we can let you go, mate, do you want to give a quick mention to anyone?
Yeah, just first of all, shout out to the boys at TechSense Pitstone Motorsport. Have done a pretty good job all season. It's been an up and down season for pretty much all of us, but we've certainly all enjoyed it, and it's been a really, really good way to finish the season off with a second place, so I'll take that. But yeah, thanks to also TechSense Sensors, Renville Harnesses, Demon Tweaks, Fight Colorectal Cancer, you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast, and the admin team for putting on an awesome series, and everybody for the cool, clean racing.
Smashing. Well, great to speak to you, Cam. Very well done this season. Like I say, a lot of fun to watch, and hopefully we'll speak to you very, very soon.
Yeah, well done, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, Cam. Great stuff. Great stuff indeed. Always good to speak to Cam. And yeah, the bathtub joke, basically. Cam does sit in a rather large sim rig, and he has his camera very high up, and it surrounds him completely, so it looks like he's sat in the bath when he's racing. It's absolutely hilarious. I love it. And he's a top bloke as well. Really good guy to speak to.
Absolutely. Well, whilst we had one Fitstyle driver in, Chaz, what are you taking away with Ethan as well here from Fitstyle Motorsports?
Yes, Ethan. Now, it suddenly hit me in the face very quickly this season when you joined Renvale Fitstyle Motorsport, obviously racing in previous teams before, but you and the guys seem to have got a really good hang of that Audi, and to be honest, mate, you were one of the most improved drivers all season. I kept saying it, and it's been great to watch you. How have you found it overall?
I think it's actually been the most enjoyable season. Like you said, this is the first season I've actually done with a full team, and it's been the most enjoyable since.
And what have you found with working together with them in the races? Like you say, having a full team and having the support there from other drivers as well. Has that really sort of boosted your morale, and do you feel that's what's helped your performances this time around?
I think it has helped performance. When you're racing with people, you can kind of you've got guards with you. You can say okay, go here, kind of let's not fight here, let's not lose time. And even when situations kind of go bad, like at Le Mans when we had accidents, I was able to not feel really bad because people were in there. We were all chatting, we're all kind of good camaraderie, and all kind of help each other kind of regain focus and just kind of continue with the job.
And how have you found the Audi? Because, I mean, as you know, I drove that car last season. We had a lot of brilliant battles last season as well. I hated that car with a passion come the end of the season. I crashed in, I think, 9 races running in last season. But, I mean, as I said at the top of the interview, you seem to just get a really good handle of that car. Do you think that it's changed much since last time that it would have been out in this championship?
I think iRacing did some kind of aero balance change to a lot of the cars, so it's one of the reasons why I did actually pick it, because I couldn't get on with the Ferrari. I would have loved to be in the Ferrari because then everyone would be in all the same car, but it was a case of I put my eggs in this basket because I thought I would get more pace and more consistently, and fair play to it. I did get a lot of pace, and I still got help from everyone kind of helping learn the car, as the season went on. Like Sebring was one of the first instances where I was like, oh, I've actually got to do this with the car. Cheers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, talking about your season, obviously, by the look of it, obviously me and Paul, again, we've been saying everything very provisionally here because of the point spreadsheet and everything else. But, I mean, you've come very close and you nearly won the Pro-Am Championship. You've been right up there in the fight, which just highlights how strong you've been. You must be pretty happy with how that's gone overall, though. I mean, to be fighting for a championship again come the end of the season, it's always a great place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel a little bit gutted that it wasn't. There's a couple of things I could have done, little mistakes I haven't to say, but a lot of the time it was kind of unfortunate outside of circumstances, I'll say, that led to unfortunate pile-ups. And I'm not going to say any much more about it, but it's been good.
Yeah, well, as long as you've enjoyed it, mate, and we've obviously enjoyed watching it. Like I say, you're one of the most improved drivers this season from last season for me, so well done on that, mate. I know it probably doesn't mean anything because it's just me chatting rubbish again, but it's still making the observation of it, and I don't want it to go unappreciated. So well done on that part, Ethan. And before we let you go, do you want to give a quick shout out to anybody?
Like I said, I want to thank the Jack Styles and everyone from Fitstyle for leaving on, even the people who didn't actually start in the championship, because we had a couple of people who helped do setups, helped do race control, kind of race strategy, and it was all a good. I love actually properly racing with a team that's all properly supportive. We weren't all on the grid. We weren't all able to get as much luck with the results. Like, we would have loved to have been all fighting for the title. It would have been great if George and I were right up the front, but it's just how it goes sometimes. And I was amazed I was fighting for the championship, and I think into that final race I was somehow leading. I'm like, I saw what happened in race 2, I was like, oh, okay, it's actually back on. And I just kept my head down. I didn't get flustered. I didn't get you have to think about I'm going to have a lot of what ifs, like what if I didn't spin at Motegi, what if I didn't spin at Imola, what if I didn't have that off at Barcelona. But it's just there's points to improve, so I can easily get better. Then hopefully I'll get a championship someday. But I'll be happy with third because I didn't get a trophy last season, so I'll take that.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. Well, great to speak to you, Ethan. Again, well done this season, and hopefully we'll see you next time round.
Hopefully we'll see how 2021 goes. The world's changing very quickly.
Indeed, it is. See you soon, mate.
Oh,
well,
we made it through them all. There we go.
Yes.
So we've made it through all the interviews there. There's just a few little things to wrap up in terms of the season. So first of all, me and Chaz were tasked with finding a driver of a race spot driver of the season, and it wasn't an easy decision, was it at all? There was a number of people that we were considering for this title, and well, Chaz, I'll let you take it away with who's ended up taking that honour.
Well, like Paul said, we went through a lot of drivers, and we wanted to make sure that it was somebody that maybe wasn't just the top driver, like picking Sarika, for example. Obviously, he's won the championship. He's got the recognition for how well he's done. We wanted to look at drivers that were in the pack, always fighting, and had improved from previous rounds. And we felt that Carl Moore was one of the most improved drivers all season. Really consistent, really quick. And I think tonight proved a really good show of commitment from him. You know, just the fact that he had that blue screen in the first race. He didn't just go, oh, I'm done, and just chuck it away. You know, it's the last round. He made a really good decision to sit out of race 2, which we respect massively here at Race Spot, because he didn't cause issues for anybody else. He didn't risk anything. He did a bit of sort of fiddling, fixed it, whatever he did. Went into the final race, and he put on a hell of a drive and made it up the field. And I think, well, we made the decision before tonight as well, and that just cemented it for us, didn't it, Paul? So
Yeah,
Carl
absolutely.
Moore, driver of the season for us. Great lad.
Really, really well deserved from Carl. Before we go, there's a few things that we need to address. So first of all, as we've been saying all the way through these interviews, the final standings are provisional at the moment. The stewarding decisions to be made, and also the admins will want to give a once-over to the championship standings anyway. So all positions are provisional. So if you keep up to date, wgtc.uk is where you can keep up to date with everything on there. The second thing I want to mention too, thank you Chaz for reminding me, season highlights. What would you say is the one thing that has stood out for you personally?
In all fairness, I think that there's been a lot of performances we've seen this season that have really stood out. I mean, we saw Alex Neller and that amazing fight at Motegi with the Williams drivers. Yeah, there was a bit of contact involved, but it was such close racing. It was amazing. Ben Gregory stood out for me last week at Le Mans as well. An amazing comeback drive after getting taken off in the very first corner. And then Neller, obviously, again, he won in the Ford at Monza. He dragged that thing. He wrung its neck and won a race in it. But for me, the main highlight is, I mean, he's had a terrible bit of luck this season, but Josh Thompson at Catalonia, he won 2 of the races, finished second in one of them, got fastest laps, I think, in at least 2 races, and put it on pole for the first race. It was almost the first full clean sweep we've ever had in the World GT Championship, and especially in a 3-race format with 2 reverse grids. Hats off,
It's
Josh
sensational.
Thompson. Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm one who likes to talk about the drama that happened in this season. That's for sure. And I will say again, it's the same person, Josh Thompson. That heartbreak, absolute heartbreak of last week at Circuit de la Sarthe. He'd done everything right, worked the strategy well, done everything right. And unfortunately, his internet failed him, and that
and he
for
drove
me
with damage
is
as well.
That for me is what, damage as well. Yeah, it was just a heartbreaking moment for him, and I think that's one of my, not so much highlights, but one of the most dramatic standout point of the season here. Right, final thing to go through. Thank you everybody who has joined us here on these broadcasts. We really have appreciated. To all the drivers in this championship, it's without them we wouldn't have broadcasts to show. So thank you everybody who has taken part, even if you only took part in 1 or 2 races. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring you this championship.
We forgot one, Paul. We forgot a shout out. You, mate. Honestly, the broadcast and everything, and I want everyone to appreciate this as well. The amount of work that Paul has been putting in week on week to make all this work, to make all the camera angles obviously work to how they are, the graphics, everything. This has been my first full season broadcasting and commentating with RaceSpot, and which way is he going to be? This lad here, Mr. Smith, has done an amazing job. So honestly, mate, thank you. It's been a real pleasure. It's been so much fun, hasn't it? We've had a great laugh.
It's been an absolutely sensational season, and I've thoroughly enjoyed covering this championship. It's been absolutely mega. It has, absolutely. I'm working my way through my list here, Chelsea. You went and ruined my list here. So
I'm sorry, mate.
So
I'm sorry.
I want to, first of all, so thank you to very much to the drivers. Every single one that took part in this season. Thank you so much. It's what has made this championship. Thank you very much to the admins. The amount of work that they put in behind the scenes, not just in terms of setting up the championship, dealing with all the admin side of things, having to deal with race stewarding, the panel of race stewards that they have as well. Having to deal with us too, bothering them for point spreadsheets and things like that. Thank you very much to them for that. Again, they've put in a lot of time and effort into this, and they deserve all the thanks that they get. And quite rightly, that everyone that we've spoken to on the interviews has mentioned the admins here. So thank you very much to them. I want to mention as well Hugo Lewis. From RaceBot TV, for bringing you some of the absolutely gorgeous B-roll footage that we brought to you like this. You know, Hugo puts in a lot of time behind the scenes. He has helped me dealing with some queries as well in terms of bringing you this championship. Thank you very much to Arjuna Kankapati and Tyler Maxon for the spinning wheel as well. That was done very last minute, so they did a wonderful job of that, so thank you to them. To the sponsors, 3M, coming on board for this championship. They've been thoroughly pleased with how this has all gone. So thank you very much to them for supporting it, as well as Pure Sims and, of course, Simmortal for supporting this championship as a whole. Thank you very much as well to my commentary partner, Chaz Draker. First season in the seat next to me, and has done an absolutely sensational job. And I'm looking forward to next season more and more. I will like to remind people, go onto YouTube and follow the RaceBot. Subscribe to RaceBot TV on YouTube. There are some changes forthcoming. We can't say what yet, but make sure you are following RaceBot TV on YouTube for future seasons coming forward. Not just this series, but other championships as well. We've got the Porsche qualifiers coming up on Saturday as well on there, so make sure you're following that, because that's been an amazing series to cover. And then finally, thank you very much to no, that's the wrong graphic to
Indianapolis.
show. Indianapolis, yeah, it's a wonderful track. Thank you very much to Isfan Ballo, trackcams22.com, if you want to get your cameras like we use on RaceBot TV. So thank you very much to them. Also, thank you very much to Apgineer and ATEVO product. It's what we use for our graphics engine. And I'll leave you with this. After 12 weeks of this championship, there has finally been a champion awarded. It's Moreno Sarica, your pro champion, along with provisionally Adam Watson and also Lars van Rijn. Until next time on RaceBot TV, thank you very much, and it's goodbye from me.
Sometimes I'd like to be alone in my own mind. I feel at home within these walls. I fear my own absence of association.